It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. What a panel we've got. Denise Howell is here. Docta is here. And Matt Cutts from the U.S. Digital Service. We are going to talk about all sorts of things, including the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Can that really be the name? We'll also talk about a university that's offering a scholarship in esports and the new Bluetooth knob attack. It's all coming up next on Twit.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twit This Week in Tech, episode 732, recorded Sunday, August 18th, 2019. Why is my fridge playing Insane Clown Posse? This Week in Tech is brought to you by DoorDash. DoorDash connects you to your favorite restaurants in your city. Get $5 off your first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter the promo code TWIT. And by Casper, a sleep brand that continues to revolutionize its line of products. Introducing the new Casper Hybrid mattresses, featuring their award-winning foam layers, now combined with springs. Get $100 off select mattresses by visiting casper.com/twit1 and using the promo code TWIT1 at checkout. And by ExpressVPN. Protect your online privacy with one click. Yeah, it's that easy. For 3 extra months free with a 1-year package, go to expressvpn.com/twit. And by Rocket Mortgage, by Quicken Loans, who make the home buying process work for you. Their award-winning client service and support will help you every step of the way. Get started online today at rocketmortgage.com/twit2. It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. I've only been doing this a couple of thousand times, but I think I know the name of the show by now. You know who's here? I'm really thrilled to have him here. We actually have a great panel. This is Matt Cutts. He is the administrator at the United States Digital Service in Washington, D.C.
You know, every time I'm out to recruit, I come out a day early just so I can
bless you, Matt
say
Cutts.
hello.
First of all, we always love having you on. Back when you were at Google, you were the king of webmaster tools at Google, and for the longest time fighting spam in the Google search results. Employee 71 at Google. Took a leave of absence. Went to work for the government, and it stuck.
It stuck. I signed up for a 3 to 6 month tour, and that was 3+ years ago.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And actually, we'll talk a little more about the recruitment later in the show, but this is a time for anybody who works for a tech company in Silicon Valley to put a little time into making the government work better for everyone. And I know, with some, at least in Silicon Valley, the current administration is not beloved, but that doesn't mean that government doesn't have to continue, do the job, get it done. In fact, all the more so. So I'm really glad to have you out here, and we'll give you a big plug in a little bit, Matt. Thank you. Also with us, we love Denise Howell. She is a former host of This Week in Law. Are you going to keep that going a little bit, or is that just kind of on hiatus now?
I think it's kind of on hiatus now. I'm having a blast doing triangulation.
We love you on triangulation. We desperately needed you and your insights, so it's great to have you. Denise is a longtime blogger with, do you still do blogs and baggage, or what was it?
Bag and Baggage was my blog that I started back in 2001. And no, it is no longer. It is one of those bits of digital flotsam and jetsam on the internet now.
That's how we met, though. We were at Blog World. You were sitting in front of me, and I saw you blogging. It was a law blog, and I thought, I want to get to know this person, and the rest is history. So I'm thrilled to have you on Twit on a regular basis as well. So
it's wonderful to be here in such great company.
We get a little of the twill in the Twit. You got some twill in my Twit.
There's twill in my Twit.
And somebody who hasn't been here since the infamous Christmas episode, the Christmas episode with John C. Dvorak and Docta, and JJ Stone.
Thanks for dusting them off balls and bringing me out the closet, Uncle Leo. I missed you guys. You know?
We got him out of the closet.
You put me on the shelf, forgot all about me, went and got new toys. I'm like, what is going on?
Oh, I feel bad.
Hey, you should feel bad. You out here hiring my doppelganger, Ain't Pruitt. I'm getting tweets.
Wait a minute.
Congratulations.
Wait a minute. You mean?
I'm like, we're not
I
the
thought
same
we
guy,
hired you. You guys all look alike. Wait a minute.
That's what happens. That's what happens. That's what Twitter thinks anyway. You know, me, Baratunde, and Ant, we're all the same person. So.
Yeah.
Congratulations all around. I'll take it.
We know the difference. And to be very fair, we did try to hire. We've tried several times to hire Owen J.J. Stone, and he said, "I'm not leaving the area." And I, in
stuck
fact,
with my kid.
And in fact, when we were talking about Ant, because Ant's a great photographer and a great tech writer, and he'd been on our shows too, I said the same thing. I said, he'll never leave North Carolina. But it turns out he's very happy to leave and take his family with him to get out of North Carolina. So, we're thrilled to get our newest hire here, along with Micah Sargent, who was happy to leave Missouri, apparently.
Very exciting. Happy congratulations for all that good stuff.
But
good
Owen,
hires.
if you ever decide that the Mid-Atlantic states are not for you, you have a home here in Northern California.
I appreciate it. I'm just going to come hang out on holidays. I'm trying to get there for the next Christmas.
Come back for the next one. Actually,
don't make it work.
I think Denise is already booked for the next one. Because
I'd love to.
I think so. I think it's all women this time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, then you shouldn't be on here. Then Lisa should run the show.
We're going to call it Twit. #MeToo. And it's going to...
Oh, boy.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke.
The sad part is you can't joke anymore. That's the one thing about this era that is killing me. Like, even comedians are getting run through the mill about jokes. You go there to get insulted. That's the point of a comedian. Sometimes a joke is just a joke.
Well, I've already said 2 politically incorrect things in the first minute of the show. So
it's a great start. It's a great start.
You know, if you really want to get insulted, there's always Twitter. So you just hop right on there. You don't even need to leave your house. You can instantly get insulted. So.
Did you know that Amazon has a team of tweeters to defend? Actually, this makes sense. I bet you more than Amazon does this, but we've only now learned about Amazon's special social media team. They jump into action whenever somebody says, "Oh, the Amazon warehouse, it's a horrible place to work." They have hired a team of warehouse workers to come in and say, "No, no, no." But a Business Insider's article this week, Amazon's army of tweeting warehouse workers backfired spectacularly this week after a thread about working conditions went viral. Last year, Amazon enlisted a team of employees to write positive comments. They call them the FC, Fulfillment Center Ambassadors. But once it was discovered, it became kind of a liability. It started with a Twitter thread earlier this week. Diana Wilde responded incredulously to the Amazon news account inviting followers to tour a fulfillment center and see what our warehouses are really like. She tweeted, not that anything on Twitter ever, can be taken as fact, but really? Like, because your workers are liars, you're not going to convince the working class that everything is fine by telling us where to avert our eyes. We already know what it's like. Why don't you really treat workers better? You can afford it. And then the FC ambassadors leapt into action. Everything's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with the money I make or the way I'm treated at work. Then other Twitter users began to mock them. And, well, it's the Twitter garbage fire. All over again. I don't even know why I brought it up. Except that you like this story, Owen. Why did you like this story?
I love this story because Amazon is the new devil in America business. You need Amazon. We love Amazon. They're destroying companies left and right. Their shipping programs they have right now are sad. It sounds sad to say for UPS. They're crushing UPS. They're crushing the post office. They're whittling down prices, and no one can do anything about it because you can't say no. You just have to say yes to what they're doing to you. And so,
isn't that a bad thing? Isn't that kind of the definition of monopoly?
So it's a very bad thing. As they play the game to crush the postal system and UPS, all the while having people go buy your own truck and deliver for us, and we're going to pay you nothing, and you're not going to be unionized. And if we want to cut you off, we cut you off. And all the things that they're doing, phenomenal business. The mindset and the capitalism, I love it. Okay, great. But the human being side of it, like instead of hiring an army full of people to tweet in a warehouse, how about you just set up an algorithm where you randomly give every employee 1 free hours paid work or 1 day off out of the month paid or something stupid like that, where everybody feels like they're in the lottery and they're going to, I got paid day off this month. That's something to make people happy. This thing that you're trying to do does nothing for you because everybody knows that you basically work for a slave ship when you're at Amazon. Now it's not slavery because you're working and you're getting paid and you chose that job.
You chose
it's
that
just like
job.
when I go get a pedicure, I feel bad for the lady doing it. I think to myself,
but that didn't stop you from getting your toenails painted bright orange.
It did not. I thought to myself, she chose this life. It's not my fault, but at the same time,
has nothing to do with the Vietnam War.
Amazon has the power to fix things in a way that's real, and they choose not to because of profit margins and money. And I mean, how much money do you really need at the end of the day?
If you're keeping score, that's now 3 politically incorrect things I've said in the first 15 minutes.
You know, I'm trying to save you by talking over you.
Can we make a drinking game out of this?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'd all need an ambulance.
Yeah.
We'd have alcohol poisoning by the end of the show.
I've decided that I'm going to play the role of capitalist. I'll be like Mr. Moneybags with the white mustache here today. For crying out loud, Owen, they chose that work. No one's forcing them to show up every day.
Hey, you get a 15-minute break, and guess what? It takes you 8 minutes to get to the bathroom when you're in the warehouse, and by the time you get back, you're 2 minutes late. You get docked for it.
Well, that's what happened on Twitter. Was people started making up fake ambassador tweets.
Oh, of course they did.
Like this one. This is from Jose, ambassador. Amazon FC ambassador. Hi, I'm Kyle. I work at an Amazon fulfillment center and I love it. We don't get pee breaks, so I've gotten used to using diapers, and my God, they're so comfortable. Also, I have grandkids, even though I have the profile pic of a 20-year-old. And on and on and on. And that is, I have to say, the best way for Twitter to deal with this kind of stuff is with humor.
Skewer, yeah, absolutely.
Little satire never hurt anything. It's always good.
It's a good way to bite back.
Yeah. Anyway, I would guess, I'd be shocked, in fact, if most companies don't have an army of people. We have a social media team putting out stuff. Huh. They do not respond to criticism, though. I don't have them seeking out people saying bad things and responding to that. They mostly just tweet out, here's what's going on today at the show, right?
Yeah, it's different.
That's
this feels
PR.
like a step beyond PR.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that Mary Hanbury, who wrote this up for Business Insider, just left on the table the opportunity to coin the term warehouse washing.
Oh.
Which is what this feels like.
Well, credit Denise Howell.
There you go.
Warehouse washing. I like it.
Well, and I've heard of a few folks on Twitter who were like, oh, well, Amazon offered to let me tour their fulfillment center, and it did diffuse the anger. But then as soon as people realize that everybody's getting that cookie cutter approach, that's just going to backfire again. Yeah. So
I think that's the first lesson any company learns about Twitter is it has to be authentic.
Yeah, you can't fake that.
If it's BS, people see through that so fast. They know they're being manipulated or tempted to manipulate. Right. Unless you're a Russian troll factory, and then nobody sees through it at all.
And at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know if you guys actually know people that work in the warehouses, but I know people that work in a Philadelphia warehouse and a South Jersey warehouse, and their experiences of anger, frustration, and semi-torture.
I love what you're saying, Owen, but apparently Karsten thinks you look like Denise Howell. Okay, there we go.
That's what's going on there.
That's what happened. It was freaking my mind out. I'm like, what's going on? Can they not hear me?
Owen's talking. Denise is sitting there. Karsten, I know they both look so much alike, but...
Hey, I wouldn't want to try and drive that TriCaster. You go, Karsten.
No, thank you, Denise. You're absolutely right. I know what happened. He's pushing the button. Go ahead, Owen.
You
have friends who work there. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 people in 2 different states have the same type of horror stories about the working environment. So that's, to me, systemic. These 2 people don't know each other. They work in 2 different states,
and to be
fair,
the
way the system operates,
they don't quit because that's the best job they can get in that area.
Oh well, so here's the thing: there's a puppy mill there. People quit every day, but at the same time, there's always somebody who needs a job. So
why don't your friends quit?
Oh, they have quit.
Oh, they were talking about their experience when they were there.
Yes. They have quit, and one went back and then quit again.
Yeah.
So.
But when I was in high school, I worked at McDonald's. Not the best job ever, cleaning the fry trap, but a job, and I was working, and I learned actually a pretty good work ethic there. I value that work I had, but I guess it wasn't as bad as working in an Amazon warehouse. So
I worked in warehouses when I was younger, and I didn't have half the experiences that these people tell me they had.
Yeah.
I used to work at.
So it is bad.
It's bad. when you get to a higher up level, it's like you're programmed to treat everyone below you the same way, like they're nothing. Yeah. So the crab box is to try and get up to a level where you get to tell everybody else what to do and not have a heart, and then you continue to do it. So even when you were at the bottom and you got treated that way, once you get up to this level, it seems like you're just predestined to keep the system going with not any understanding. It's very machine like I said, capitalism. I get it. You don't have to work there. You can quit. But I mean, for as big as they are and as much money as they make, and as how happy they try to make the customer, they could make their employees a little bit more happy.
As Dr. Morbius in our chat room says, soul-crushing work teaches you nothing.
Yeah, and I feel like this isn't a job for high schoolers just paying their dues, right?
No,
These are full-time,
they're grown-ups,
career-oriented adults working there.
Should I not shop at Amazon though?
You can't not shop at Amazon. Same thing about Walmart.
Yeah, because that's the option. I'll go to jet.com, which is Walmart. Is that better? Probably not.
It's all the same. Yeah. Walmart used to specifically not give people full-time jobs just so they could keep them subsidized and getting welfare handouts and stuff from the government until the government's like, oh, well, we're not going to give you as many subsidies anymore. So, I mean, again, capitalism at its best, everybody's got a scam. And if you got to work and you're on the lower totem pole, you got to do what you got to do to survive.
Go to your local market, your local bookstore. Oh, you don't have one anymore? I'm sorry. We do. We're lucky. We have an independent bookstore here. And I feel guilty because I still buy books on Amazon. I will go in there and buy books, but the Copperfields. But Amazon's so much more convenient. I should probably put my dollar where my mouth is.
You should. Yeah. You could do it. You can make the effort. You can wait a couple days for a book.
That's the problem. Have to order
for
I can get it tomorrow from Amazon.
I know. Especially out there, you guys get stuff next day, same day. Out here, we're still in the 2-day hold period. We don't have that Insta stuff out here.
Oh man, almost everything's next day now here.
God, sometimes it's same day.
Sometimes they that's how they get. Yeah, you're in the LA area, so the more metro you are, the more likely you can get it.
I shop there. I can't, like I said, I can't lie. It's like I don't use Amazon. I do.
And then in the annals of corporate apologies, there's Telus, which is one of the 2 big carriers in Canada. Email has been out since Thursday and Telus.
Oh, boy.
And I went to we got a call on the radio show. Guy said, what should I do? And I said, well, there's this thing called Gmail. It goes out once in a while, but not for days. And then I had to play this video. This is Telus.com. This is their apology from their chief customer officer.
My name is Tony Guerin, Chief Customer Officer at Telus. To our Telus.net email customers, we've let you down and we are sorry.
I should point out that Tony hasn't shaved in about 3 days.
Yeah.
And he's looking a little bleary, to be honest. That shirt, I don't know. It looks like he hasn't changed that in a couple of days either.
He's taking it hard.
He's taking it hard.
He's arms deep in the routers.
He's in there.
Cables and pushing them in.
I want to
They're still managing to water the plants, though, somehow.
The plant, well, they're plastic probably, right? Those
email outage that began on Thursday and prevented many of you from accessing, sending, or receiving emails from your Telus.net account.
He's also hunched over as if the CEO called him and kind of beat him up a little bit. Doesn't he look a little kind of like hangdog?
Yeah.
I feel so bad for this guy, except...
We know how vital email is to conduct important business, to communicate with family and friends, and to manage schedules and finances. This disruption is unacceptable, and we are doing everything we can to resolve the matter as soon as possible.
It's still out. But I have to commend them for saying, we blew it. This is, I mean, in a truly Canadian fashion, they are actually apologizing.
We're sorry.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they can make a really well-produced video in the time it takes to reboot their servers. And also, that person is not good at reading off the teleprompter. Does anybody else get annoyed when you can literally see their eyes are going
scanning? Back and forth.
Like, just be authentic.
Yeah.
Just be like, we messed up. I'm sorry.
I would love for one time, like this is like 20% better than the Zuckerberg apology. I would love
it is.
For one time for somebody to just sit there like, I haven't slept in 3 days.
Dudes, we up.
Your email's down. My phone's blowing up. My boss is threatening to fire me.
sorry.
The engineers have put themselves in the hallway. They're crying in a fetal position. We apologize because
Oh, my
I
God.
don't understand what happened. It shouldn't happen. We're a multi-billion-dollar company. We've messed up for you. And I know it's upsetting. I'm crying inside because I've cried for 3 days. I haven't shaved. I haven't taken a shower. My dog won't even look at me because I'm so depressed.
I am crap.
But we're gonna fix it, and we're going to do it again. I want somebody to cry into a camera like that and tell me that they're sorry, so I can be like, you know what? I'm about to double down and give them my money. I believe that.
Credit to Tony and Telus. This is about as close as you're ever going to get a major corporation. To do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's pretty
he
cool.
looks pretty hangdog.
He does.
We have a new doctor career. Corporate coaching.
That's
is
good.
certainly your
That's
forte.
good. Like they used to hire George Clooney to fire people.
Yeah.
They should hire O'Doctor to apologize.
Yeah, chief apology officer.
I'm in negotiations with buying a website from a guy. It's called Run It By Us. It's for companies with no black people or ethnic people or gay people on their board. Whenever they want to put something on the internet, they just send me the deck and I mix it up with a whole group of ethnic people, and they run it by us. And for like $5,000, we'll tell you if it's racist, sexist.
This is
whatever.
letting them off the hook. Now they don't have to hire anybody.
Oh no, they got. That's what I'm saying. They don't have to hire anybody. They're not going to hire anybody anyway, Leo. They come in, they do some PR, they bring on some kid off the streets, they give him a T-shirt. Then 6 months later, you forget, they fire him and give him a little parachute. I'm saying for this, run it by us. You know, you could just
That's a
do
good
little
idea.
5K,
That's a good idea.
and then be clear. Be good.
Get the woke take.
Sensitivity
Yeah,
as a service.
it's faux woke.
No, it's real.
Real
It's
woke.
It's just
real.
outsourced.
Outsourced woke.
Outsourced woke.
Outsourced woke. That's it. That's it.
I think it's a great business idea. Personally, I'm working on it.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Okay. I did 2 silly stories to begin. Let's take a break. I know, one of the things that we hear from our audience all the time is that these shows go on so long, they starve to death during the show. So as a public service announcement, I'd like to introduce you to DoorDash. There's no reason you should be stuck watching a long podcast and not have some pizza or a Subway sandwich or maybe some lovely cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory. DoorDash puts some of the best restaurants in your town on your phone so you can order and get the food delivered right to you. All the big favorite chains like Chipotle and Wendy's and Cheesecake Factory, the Subway, but also over 340,000 other amazing restaurants just in your area. DoorDash is now in 3,300 cities, all 50 states in Canada. When Ant brought his family out here, his teenage son, Isaiah, we took him out to eat, and he looked, and on the door, of course, there's a sticker that says DoorDash, and he said, "Dad, they have DoorDash here, too." Yes, they do. They have DoorDash everywhere. DoorDash is awesome. Get it on your phone. You never know when you're going to be stuck at the office or starving at school or just a long day of work and you don't want to cook or stuck listening to an extraordinarily long podcast. Treat yourself to the meal you deserve on demand from your favorite restaurant. Restaurants come to you with DoorDash, and I love our Dashers. Always be nice to your Dasher. They're great people. Right now, our listeners can get $5 off their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app, put it on Android or iOS, and then offer code TWIT. $5 off. Get a little something. Get an extra something. Some extra chips and guacamole on your first order when you download the DoorDash app from the App Store and enter promo code TWIT. Promo code TWIT. I'm tempted. I'm thinking some order some DoorDash for our studio audience today. They have a lean and hungry look.
I'm so excited. I now
DoorDash
have
is
permission to
amazing.
answer the doorbell during these
You
shows.
may go get the door anytime, Denise, if for any reason at all. Actually, you mentioned that Amazon's crushing UPS, but didn't they? The final deal with the FedEx died. There's no more FedEx Ground. FedEx Air was stopped a few months ago because Amazon's just basically doing it themselves. They bought planes or leased planes. They don't buy planes, and they have trucks now and vans, and even people in 1986 El Caminos delivering packages for them. You never know.
Yeah, it's kind of getting to the point where, anybody just throws a sign in the front of their car like Uber and Lyft.
They don't actually. That's the
for
thing.
Amazon.
They're unmarked. I think Amazon needs like a Chicken Delight thing on top of the hood or something that says I'm delivering for Amazon, because it's a little weird when somebody pulls up in an unmarked car into your driveway.
Okay.
And throws a package at you.
So the one time you shouldn't answer your doorbell?
When?
Whenever you just won $3 million playing Fortnite.
Land Shark, Candy Graham.
Because apparently the guy that won $3 million on Fortnite got swatted.
Oh.
So
this was a story. This guy's 16-year-old kid, and he did something that made every parent in America sigh. Which is he won $3 million in a Fortnite competition, which meant that every teenage kid has been telling their folks, "Oh no, really? I love it. I'm gonna make a living at this." Now they go, "See," and every parent's going, "Oh my God, does your kid play Fortnite yet, Denise?"
Oh, he sort of played Fortnite when Fortnite was sweeping globally.
He's already moved on.
Oh wow!
Kind of, yeah.
I know he was a Minecraft.
For this kid,
I know he was into Minecraft. What does he do now?
Gaming wise? Oh God, I can't out him. No, he'll be embarrassed if I tell you.
Oh.
Let's just say it's summertime and people get outside.
Is it My Little Pony?
Can we paste it in the chat?
There was for a while. I don't know if they're still around. The My Little Bronies. You knew about them, right? They were adult men who liked My Little Pony.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. Says Doctor.
Well, Leah doesn't play Fortnite, thank the Lord. She plays Minecraft and Roblox or whatever.
Those are both, I think, good constructive games because you have to.
The thing. We're going to get into this story, but the one thing about the kid winning $3 million, tennis players don't make that much money to win a tournament. Golf players don't make that much money to win a tournament. This kid made that much money. And the thing about that whole tournament that I didn't really care, if that's your thing and you make money at it, God bless you. Great. This is America. But the one kid, he got 6th place and he was uncontrollably shaking and crying in his father's arms because he got 6th place, and his dad's just holding him, and he's literally they're just shaking. They're both crying. And guess how much money they made? They made $900,000.
What?
I would throw my daughter on the floor and be like, "Get up! We just made $900,000. Don't cry. Don't cry. 6th place is great. I'm usually first, second.
That's
and third
almost
place.
$1 million.
But 6th place, I'm like, stop crying, Daddy. We're good, son. Son, you are the best son, any son in the world. It was.
I just assumed when you said tears were involved, it was tears of joy.
No, they were up.
But I wanted the really big trophy, Daddy. I wanted the trophy taller than me. Please, Daddy, please.
$900,000. He was still freaking out. I'm like, kid.
God.
So this poor kid, I'm not going to say his name, but according to Kotaku, he was streaming a Fortnite game Sunday. People were watching the stream. And he abruptly left his desk, just like Denise Howell when the DoorDash guy comes. And his father was coming to tell him that armed police were at the front door. This is a big problem on Twitch and other streaming services where they SWAT you. It's terrible. Yeah. And as we know, swatting is risky. People can die. Not to mention the fact that it pulls law enforcement off of real crimes.
Right.
And it's expensive. That was definitely a new one he can be heard saying on the stream. I got swatted. I was lucky because the one officer lives in our neighborhood. We got swatted once at the brick house.
Really?
And fortunately, the Petaluma police are kind of lackadaisical. So a couple of detectives came. They said, "Is everything all right?" "Yeah. We're going to get some dogs just to search, just in case." But, we figured it was bogus.
Oh, man.
So,
wow.
Yeah. I shouldn't have said that out loud. He had appeared on The Tonight Show to talk with Jimmy Fallon about his win. So he's very public. And of course, this is the problem. I think gamer culture is a little toxic. There's a whole section in today's Sunday Times about Gamergate. Today is the 5th anniversary of the beginning of Gamergate. Yeah. Brianna Wu has a piece in it about how it's not getting any better. They talk about the initial, the Zoe Quinn who had left. This is how it all started. Zoe Quinn had a bad breakup. And her 20-something boyfriend wrote a 10,000-word screed against her. 5 years ago, a series of vile events changed the way we fight online. Actually, this is interesting, they did one of the Times does these animated editorials online. But poor Zoe Quinn never went home. She was visiting friends in San Francisco. She didn't even go back to her home. And Charlie Wartzel's, who's been doing some great work, I think, for the New York Times. This is technically an opinion piece, but it is a history of Gamergate. And it does feel like this community is a little bit toxic.
Well, I'll also say, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go, and then I will.
It's not even just the gamer community. I just got done talking to my daughter about a girl who does tutorial videos, and a guy asked her out. She said, no, thank you. And then she ended up getting killed by this person who ended up stalking her, finding her, and killing her via the internet. So it's so bad when you're out there publicly putting yourself out there. Like, there needs to be something where, like, if Doctor was my name, maybe you should just stop giving out real names or something, because the more you're online, it only takes one crazy person or one jealous person to destroy your life. Like you said, luckily no one was hurt in this instance, but it's not even just video games. It's just being online and being popular and either desirable in some form or fashion. It's really creepy right now what's going on with the internet. We need to figure out a way to fix it. I don't know how you do it, but
it's like, I mean, there's always been a little bit of this in the world. What do they call it? Prairie dogging. If you stick your head up, if you become known, people tend to want to cut it off. There's always been a little bit in that world, but I think part of the problem is that it's Twitter especially, but 8chan and 4chan and other and Reddit kind of become a big lever, a big megaphone that can really hype this up much more than just somebody being mean at work. Oh, you won $3 million. Good for you. That can really escalate to something much, much, much worse. And so I kind of blame social media, but on the other hand, what are you going to do? I mean, you can't. Can Facebook, Twitter control it? That 8chan is pretty much shut down, but that didn't mean that 8chan wasn't started and take it up right immediately the same way. It's kind of the nature of the world we live in.
So what I was thinking is certainly the behavior is something that can't be tolerated, and as Doctor was saying, needs to be addressed one way or another, and it's a hard nut to crack. But from a tech policy and privacy standpoint, another thing we probably could come at is the fact that traditionally property ownership records are public.
That's the problem. Doctor can be Doctor, but how long before he's doxxed?
Right. Oh, well, I live on a black site and no one can actually find my address, but that's just me.
But if you buy a house, you're right, Denise. If you buy a house, the problem was in the old days, it went to the county seat and it was on a piece of paper at the county seat. But then there's companies like Spokio that send people out to every county seat and record all this stuff and put it online. Do you change the laws, Denise?
Maybe. I mean, maybe it's time to start thinking about, I know people have been appalled for years at what can be found out about them just through simple web searching. And one of the primary things that can be found out is if you own property and your name is on the deed, as it tends to be, or some, entity that you're involved in is on the deed, then you can easily be linked to that property.
Let me ask you, because Denise is a professional lawyer. I'm asking for a friend. Is it possible to buy a home without your name being on the record? Like, is it possible to buy under a holding company or something that can't be traced back to you?
Sure. You can have a corporation own property.
But then people go look up the corporate records.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're determined enough to
What did Johnny Depp do?
I don't know. What did Johnny Depp do?
I don't know. I just figure if you're a movie star, you're not going to buy a house in the name Johnny Depp, right? Do you have your agent, your manager buy it?
Right. I think, and isn't that sad that we're talking about what do ordinary people living their lives who are not Johnny Depp have to do?
That's the problem. That Brianna Wu and Zoe Quinn don't have the resources that a movie star does to hide their traces, so they're easily doxable.
The thing that drives me crazy, what you were just talking about finding online, it's not even so easy to find out someone's address online, but there's all these websites that for $34, they'll do a background check, they'll do all that stuff for you. Like, that's something we should cut down on, because if you had to actually do the work yourself, people would probably give up on it. But if they're looking at a site and they're like, oh, for $5.99, I can get your phone number, your address, and relatives. Okay, sure, I'll go pay for that. Like, it's really, I don't know, it's really weird, really weird.
I do want to point out that
I think comes back to what's going to be public information, because that's just somebody willing to do the work for you and then you pay them for it, right? So if the information is available, someone's going to go find it.
Yeah. I should point out that Congress is asking subpoena the owner of 8chan, Jim Watkins. He'll be appearing before Congress on September 5th. He himself says, I really don't like what's happened, and he shut it down. He said, I wish I never started it. But he also pointed out, and quite rightly, as soon as I shut down, which he did, somebody else will come along. And there is, in fact, 8chan, which is the same thing. So it's pretty hard. I mean, you cannot... The nature of the internet is anybody can create an account. Even if Twitter starts to shut down neo-Nazis, they just create a new account. It doesn't...
Okay, so I'll try to give a hopeful framing on the last little bit, which is it feels like companies were not thinking about all of the sort of digital smog that they were creating and the externalities and the byproducts and the sludge and all of the.
You
bad
were at Google early on.
Yeah, and
what were those conversations?
Like there was a story. I think maybe Carolyn McCarthy wrote it about Google Plus and how they were just trying to copy Facebook.
I loved that story.
Yeah, and how they missed out on. They could have created something different, better, where the interactions would be healthier and you wouldn't have as much of
and because Google Plus had the tools necessary.
Yeah.
Users could block people from commenting. You had actually, it was so much better than Twitter.
Yeah, Mike Elgin would always...
Mike and I and others have said for years. We were extremely disappointed that Google didn't keep Google Plus going. I know they still use it internally.
Well, and I don't think it's the end of the world for Google Plus to go away, but if what happens out of the last year or two is new companies realize that they need to think about the holistic aspect of their footprint and the implications of how people interact with each other online, maybe the pendulum is starting to swing the other way, where we start to see safer spaces or smaller spaces or more fragmented spaces where you don't have some of the same negative side effects that we currently have on social media.
So before we switch topics, going into exactly what you were just saying, does anybody have the new Instagram where they don't show likes yet?
No.
Nope.
Okay, so Instagram, Instagram's doing a thing where they're trying different countries and they're not showing likes anymore. So people don't have anxiety and stress, and they're cutting down on the dopamine and your addiction and to need to have likes and all this kind of stuff. And they say they want it to be for health, mental health, and anxiety and stress, and they're trying to cut down on it, which I personally don't believe at all. I feel like that's like a sham because it's owned by Facebook. So it sounds great, but I don't like it at all. I don't like that idea. I don't like that premise. I don't like that thing. I haven't seen it yet, but what you were just talking about is a company, quote unquote, saying that they're trying to make it better for people's mental health and mindset and not wanting to one up each other. I think it's about the fact that they're losing out on branding, marketing, and advertising dollars. Because if I am a person with 1 million followers and I get 200,000 likes, the brand could come directly to me instead of running trash Instagram ads through the feed. They can get something organic through me. But if they can't get the likes, then I can't prove that I'm worth the value that they're paying me. So then they might just go back to Instagram and say, okay, we're going to run whatever kind of ads you want us to run. So
I also think
that works.
One of the things Facebook does, and Instagram's a Facebook company. In fact, they're going to rename it Instagram by Facebook for reasons I don't fully understand. One of the things Facebook does is the minimum to deflect like, oh, well, hey, we're getting rid of likes, as if that would have anything to do with influencers. And I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe it's an economic thing, doctor, but I also think it's just like, well, we're doing something. Twitter does that too.
Yeah.
We're doing something. It's the least. They do the least they can do. And it doesn't seem to make any difference at all. I mean, how does getting rid of the likes do anything to reduce the value of influencers? You still get rid of the follower count, maybe. Get rid of the follower count. Are they thinking about that? I don't think so.
No.
Because then if you don't know how many followers somebody has, you don't know if they're an influencer, right?
They could just be a regular person.
They could be somebody normal.
Yeah. What's up with
who
that?
poses like this.
I don't know that would have helped this Fortnite kid, though, right?
No, I feel bad for the kid.
Fair.
But, you know, win $3 million, welcome to the world. This is not going to go well. Do you know a single lottery winner who's happy?
On the gaming aspect of this story, do you guys know that UC Irvine, which is our local UC here in Orange County, has a full-on esports arena that they have built?
What?
And
with taxpayers' money, no less.
Yes, they built one here on the East Coast of Philadelphia. It's $3.4 million on the taxpayers' dime. They built one out here too. It'll be opening next year.
There's a whole thing. Where
I'm sure they got donations.
Yeah, secondary cities.
Here, I'm sure.
Like Fresno, Texas, or somewhere. Like there's a whole bunch of places looking to use esports as a way to revitalize their cities.
But I don't understand a university doing it. Here's the site. It's esports.uci.edu, and it's a very nice, fancy site. They do say it's powered by iBuyPower, which so they have a name.
They have sponsorship.
They have a name. Competition. Okay.
Every sports arena in America has a name on it. Smoothie Center, whatever. Yeah. They pay for the naming rights of that. The city though pays for the stadium.
More power to UCI as far as I'm concerned. They are not exactly a sports powerhouse. So if this can be their sport,
is that it? But then they show they say academics, and they show a guy working on brains. I don't think that's in the esports thing. I don't know. I mean, they just kind of threw that one in. Apparently, you can get a degree in esports from UCI.
Okay, does anybody else remember the Far Side cartoon from 1990 where Gary Larson was like, in the year 2005, like, people will make $100,000 playing Mario Brothers.
You got it. You pulled it up.
And it's like, Nintendo expert needed, $50,000 salary plus car,
Fast forward 20 years, UCI Esports to offer scholarships for top Super Smash Brothers Ultimate players.
I mean,
Mom, look, I got a scholarship. Oh, that's exciting.
The Nintendo World Championship esports event is coming up
on CBS, August 25th.
Yes.
Well, I feel like we're doing a good public service announcement for the offspring of our listeners here.
Well, and apparently esports brings in so what is it? Patriot Act is the Netflix show. He talked about video game industry, and he was saying the video games now bring in more than like the NBA, NHL, all of the movies all put together. So
I recently had a job interview, my first job interview in 10 years. A recruiter reached out to me to do social media for the Sixers. I don't know if I got the job. I probably won't because I'm crazy. But when I went there to go meet them, I met 3 guys that work for the Sixers as the Sixers sports team that play 2K as the Sixers. They travel around and do tournaments across the country. And these 3 dudes are like 2 times bigger than me. And like, when I like, you wouldn't, it doesn't matter, but they're decked out in like $300 Jordans. Like, these guys are balling out of control, making money. Like, I was like, yo, how much money do you make? He's like, oh, we make anywhere between $250,000 to $500,000 a year, but then we do our own tournaments where we can make double that. And I'm like, they're paying you to play basketball and pretend to be the stars that they actually have on the court. I wasted so much of my youth.
All right, you got to tell your daughter. You got to tell your daughter that there will be $6,000 scholarships. You have to try out for there's apparently UC Irvine wants to have a Super Smash Brothers team. The Smash community at UCI is one of the biggest and most passionate gaming clubs on campus. They already offer scholarships to League of Legends and Overwatch players. So they got a donor from LA Weekly. The CEO of LA Weekly is apparently a big gamer. There's no coach for the team. UCI Esports will provide staff to coordinate practice times, travel, social media, equipment needs.
That's the job I need to get. I want to be their coach.
I want to be the trainer.
I
want to be the guy that runs out, gives him a squirt with a water bottle in between sessions.
I just got to hype him up. Like, yeah, you're doing great, man.
I'm going to tape him up, give him a shot of something. Little steroids in the
after the game.
In the wrists. You know what I mean? How the wrists feeling, Johnny?
That's right.
Players expected to practice. Oh, get ready for this. You're expected to practice 10 to 15 hours a week and maintain a 2.0 GPA.
Oh my
God, what? I thought you were going to say 10 to 15 hours a day, and I was going to say, yeah, that's more like it.
More like it. You mean I can only play 15 hours a week? Coach, put me in.
But that 2.0 GPA, that could be.
I feel like we're living in, you know what? I am an old man now. I am an old man now. I understand why all my elders, when I was a kid, were saying, you kids and your rock and roll. I don't get it. I don't get the world we've created. What is this? This makes no sense. And by the way, what is a 2.0 GPA?
Yeah, that's you.
Is that a D average? What is that?
Please have a pulse.
That's a
It's
C
a
average.
C average?
Yeah.
Please have a pulse and be 15 hours of Mario.
On the other hand, I would rather watch a good speed run of Portal 2 than like
All right, that's
NFL.
true.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know.
That's more interesting. I'm sending this to our son. He's actually pretty good at Super Smash Brothers.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you sit back and think about our traditional, hugely commercially successful world of sports, is there anything more ridiculous about Super Mario than football? It's less dangerous.
That's true.
Less head injuries.
Let's watch the recruitment video. Are you ready? Here we go. Turn up the sound.
Do you think you have what it takes to join
UCI Esports. You're not hearing me? Are you not feeling me, man?
Our program focuses on 5 pillars.
Yeah, let me start over again. I got to start over.
Love the high fives.
Esports. Esports.
Hi, my name is Mark
Those are
Deppy, and I'm the
mid-fives.
director of the UCI Esports program. And I want to talk a little bit about
What do you think he tells his mother he does for a living? I coach sports.
On the other hand, my mom doesn't really know what I do for a living.
That's true.
I'm like, network ports fixing together.
That's true.
recruiting. Our program focuses on 5 pillars: competition, academics and research, community,
Research?
entertainment, and careers.
I
Our
have
first
researched what the best kill shot is for the plumber, and I believe I will write a thesis.
pillar, competition, is kind of the sizzle that ties the whole program together. We want our teams to compete against the best college teams
I'm
in the
going to take Trash Talk 201.
world. When we recruit
like to
players,
up-
we're looking for many things. We're looking for strong students that have a great academic background and can demonstrate that they
Yeah,
can
if you can get a 2.0, man, you're in.
be successful at UC Irvine. We're looking for top
Well, okay, I shouldn't make fun of this.
You know
'cause-
what I hear? What I hear is we should have This Week in Video Game Esports because, apparently lots of sponsors will be like,
I think we already pitching that around.
And
got
I'm
your
not
finger on the
willing
pulse.
to write off their ability to do meaningful research. Gamification is a thing.
Okay, good point.
Yeah.
Just what we need, more people with PhDs in gamification.
yeah,
Let's make more of the internet addictive.
but for good.
But for good, addictive for good. Is the VA website going to have gamification? Are you working on that?
First, it's good to have the VA site where everybody can use it on a mobile phone and everybody's happy with it. You don't have to fill out paper forms.
Responsive design was an early goal.
That's an early goal.
Yeah.
Maybe later comes the
Gamification
gamification.
Wow.
Talk to UCI.
Yeah, really. You'll know where to get those graduates. Is that now? I'd be curious because what do they say about employment prospects? I guess it's. I mean, are you going to? You're right. It's just like sports recruiting, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And if it's bigger than the NBA, maybe you should do it. What a world!
Right, because there are pro leagues these people will go on to, presumably.
For all of us that are not 6 feet tall,
Yeah.
now it's a
Little
great
tubby,
equalizer.
little tubby. Really good at sitting down. That's me. I got a giant thumb. It's good.
Good carpal tunnel action, good flexion, fast
So-
flexion.
Yahoo bought Tumblr. Marissa Mayer really trying to beef up the Yahoo brand for $1.1 billion. $1.1 billion. Yahoo was eventually sold to Verizon for, what was it? It was a lot. $3 billion, something like that.
That's a good
It was pretty good. I think Marissa got out unscathed, but Verizon couldn't figure out what the hell to do with Tumblr. So first of all, they realized, oh, it's a porn site. We just bought a porn site. 1/3 of all of Tumblr blogs were adult content. So they banned that, lost 1/3 of their audience. Now,
They lost more than 1/3 of their audience.
really? You think?
I discussed this like a long time ago around here. I used to use Tumblr as a funnel for web traffic simply because of that. Like I'm not going to go into details of stuff that I would do, but you could mix and match content and you could drive people to click on anything you wanted them to click on via Tumblr. Once they shut Tumblr down and tried to make it quote unquote kid friendly, not only did they take off the adult content, they took off a lot of the
content.
adult meme content. Some things that weren't even sexual, like porn, but they just deemed inappropriate. So they cut off massive amounts of free-flowing content that used to flow through Tumblr. My daughter's website is actually
I loved Tumblr. Marco Arment and David Karp created something great. They got a good exit. They sold to Yahoo in 2013 for $1.1 billion.
It's an Instagram.
And even before they took the stuff off, like she never saw anything bad on there because they had the filter.
You follow what you follow, and you don't see anything.
Not even on that. You just had a filter that said
no
you
adult.
want to see adult content or not, and people would usually respectfully mark their stuff, and you never see anything. But once they took that off, it just it's downhill.
Yahoo wrote down the site's value by $230 million 3 years later, sold to Verizon, 1.8 revenue within the Verizon Media Group, now formerly Oath. Okay, there was another bad thing. Verizon decided to name the whole thing Oath for reasons no one understands. Was $1.8 billion in the second quarter, so that's not bad. But finally, Verizon said, "Look, I got to unload this Tumblr thing." So they sold it.
We've been talking about toxicity on Twitter, but lest we forget, but for Twitter, we couldn't get hot takes like Dieter Bonds, where he tweeted, Tumblr sold for the cost of 2-bedroom San Francisco home in Noe Valley.
That's right. We don't know the exact figure, but the Wall Street Journal is saying $2 million for this formerly valued at $1 billion company.
Leo, we could have bought that thing, turned porn back on, flipped it for another $1 billion.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That's literally all you had to do, Uncle Leo.
If I had known, I would have. They wanted more than that to buy the brick house. So WordPress.com's parent company, Automatic, bought it, which actually is great. Yeah. Matt Mullenweg says we're not turning the porn back on. But WordPress, I think it actually makes sense. WordPress has a platform that's probably a little more beefy for people who need more capability. Tumblr, anybody could quickly and easily set up a blog. I loved having a Tumblr. So I had quit my Tumblr account a long time ago. Not because of the adult stuff, but just because when I quit Facebook and Instagram, I just quit all of that stuff. I signed up again as soon as I heard this. I said, good. I couldn't get leo.tumblr.com back. Somebody took it, but I have chieftwit.tumblr.com, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's still got great mobile apps. It's an easy site to create a blog in. I think I have a feeling if anybody should know what to do with it, it's authentic. I mean, Automatic.
And for $10 one-time payment, you can put your own domain on there anyway. You can put
That's what I had. It was tumbleo.com, which
there you go.
I think I'm going to bring back. Tumbleo. So big, I don't mind that Verizon lost their shirt on it, frankly. I'm always happy to see Verizon in pain. But
it's the circle of life.
It's the circle of life.
Yahoo paid $5 billion for Mark Cuban's thing.
My God.
Right?
Whatever happened to broadcast.com?
Maybe it's a park domain now. We should check.
Yeah, that's a good idea. No, it just takes you to yahoo.com.
Yahoo.
Broadcast.com is now yahoo.com.
It's an expensive domain name.
Yeah. Is it?
Wow.
Well.
Yeah, $3 billion, $5 billion, $5 billion. Wow.
And then Yahoo got sold for $5 billion.
You always want to sell at the peak.
That's right.
All right, let's take a break, and then we're going to come back. There's some Apple news. I'm studiously avoiding the Wired story, 3 years of misery inside Google. It hurts. It's a little too close to home. But Matt Cutts read it. I'll ask you what you think. And we have a Googler in the audience who doesn't look evil at all. So there, right? Actually, I thought the article was very positive about Google because what it really said is that employees at Google, unlike, say, employees at the Amazon Fulfillment Center, have a voice and can stand up and can walk out and can say, no, we don't want to do this. We don't want it to be this way. In fact, there's a quote that's, well, we'll get to it in a second. I'll talk about it in just a bit. Our show today brought to you by My Mattress. Everybody has a Casper, right? You don't? All right, let me tell you about Casper. You ought to get a Casper. It's the best mattress out there. Casper was started by some guys who said, this is actually the best stuff in Silicon Valley comes out of this kind of notion that there are places in the economy that are inefficient, where you're spending more than you ought to. And a mattress they were the worst. Because basically a mattress company would make a mattress, and then sell it to a mattress showroom would double the cost. The mattress showroom takes half. So that means you're paying twice as much as you need to for the mattress. And what do you get from a mattress showroom? The privilege of lying on the mattress for a minute in broad daylight with a salesperson staring at you. You can't even take off your shoes. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's not a good way to test a mattress. But that's a problem because people want to do that. So Casper said, well, we could get rid of the middleman. We could sell really beautiful premium mattresses for a fraction of what they cost in the store. But people do want to lie on it, right? So what we're going to do, and this was brilliant. Now everybody's doing it. They started this. We're going to give people 100 nights. If you don't like it after 100 nights, you buy your Casper, free delivery, painless returns in the U.S. and Canada, a 100-night risk-free sleep-on-it trial. So if you don't like it after 100 nights, they'll come and get it. Here's my Casper. I just got the new one. Oh, I love this. Casper just introduced their hybrid mattress collection. Now, I've had a Casper forever, and I love the Casper. But the hybrid mattress does something interesting. They brought back springs. So they've always had this award-winning durable foam mattresses, but now they've added durable yet gentle springs in the mattress. This new innovation gives you luxurious comfort, resilient support, elevated lift for active support, all body types. I'm a little heavier than my wife, but the springs really help. Look how comfy that looks. Oh, it's so nice. Increased airflow within the spring network so you sleep even cooler. That's one of the best things about Casper mattresses. We know sleeping cool is an important part of sleeping well. And then this is for me because when I get up out of bed, I would roll off the mattress because the edge wouldn't, be firm. It'd be the same softness. Now, with the springs, you have enhanced edge support, firmer perimeters that makes it easier to get in and out of bed. This new Casper mattress is awesome. I just got it. As you saw, I tried it out. As always, though, I don't know how they do this. Even though they've got springs in it, it still comes in this surprisingly compact box, which makes it very easy. Don't do what I did. I opened the mattress in the foyer. Big mistake, because then I had to manhandle it into the bedroom. Bring it into the bedroom and open it. Just a little tip, something I've learned. But I have to say, when my son went to college, we got him a Casper. He was able to get up 3 flights in the dorm, get a nice, comfy mattress, and it was so affordable that when he was ready to leave after 4 years, he said, should I take it with me? I said, no, leave it. We'll get you a new one. Let the next kid enjoy your Casper mattress. I love it. Even with the springs, the hybrid mattresses are amazingly compact. They arrive on your doorstep. You open the box, you've got a great night's sleep. And by the way, no airing out. No, I've had mattresses, fancy, expensive mattresses from big brands where you really didn't want to sleep on it for the first week because it smelled bad. Not the Casper. Smells great, feels great, sleeps cool, supports you, and yet gives. It's amazing. Get a Casper mattress today. You save $100 towards select mattresses by going to casper.com/twit1 and use the promo code twit1 at checkout. $100 off select mattresses. Go to casper.com/twit1. Promo code is twit1. You got to use that to get the $100. That's the best deal they've had. Some terms and conditions apply. Casper, C-A-S-P-E-R, not like the ghost. Casper.com/twit1, promo code twit1. We are probably, in all likelihood, only a couple of weeks off from the new iPhone. The Note 10 comes. I get my Note 10 Thursday.
Nice.
The new iPhone, Fast Company thinks September 10th. That makes a lot of sense. That's the second Tuesday in September. That seems like a reasonable time. Rumor mill has been going crazy, not only with this year's iPhone. They're already starting to talk about the 2020 iPhone, which is really nuts.
Because that's the one that's going to make a difference. This one's going to be the same iPhone as the last iPhone.
Probably.
It's thinner, lighter, better, sexier. Same.
More cameras. Better camera. Isn't that all that really matters in a modern smartphone is how good the camera is?
Battery life.
If it did, then the Pixel would be the #1 phone in the world because that's the camera that really matters.
Oh.
I think
found
he's
a friend.
Right.
I found a friend.
I think he's right. Yeah.
I get review units. I don't make videos and stuff because I'm just lazy. So I just usually do like behind the scenes reviews. I gave that phone to 4 different people and they loved it. The Pixel XL 3A. It's just superior what that phone does as far as photography.
With one lens.
With one lens. And
so,
at the end of the day, if they have better marketing, or if they just say, you know what, forget this, we're going to sell this to you and charge you triple the rate. That camera is the best camera on a phone.
Okay.
period.
But I'm going to say something controversial.
Oh, here we go.
The hardware is crappy. I love the camera, but it kills background processes like that, right? They still haven't fixed that. The hardware is not the greatest hardware.
But the camera.
On the
camera.
Oh, nice.
And it has a dedicated camera chip, which the A does not. No, I'll grant you that. But I have to say, there is something to be said. Now, this is the S10. The Note will have it with multiple lenses. So with one lens, you get one focal length. This one, I have telephoto, zoom in, normal, and wide, super wide. I can get this whole studio in, and that's the lens. It's optical. And I have to say, I agree with you, Doctor, that the software in the Pixel 3 is second to none. The engine that they put in there, the extra hardware, the chip, that makes a big difference. But I think that even in the Galaxy S10 Plus, the Night Sight, which they just put out in their July update, is I think it's as good as Google's.
It's not. It's not. You can say that, but it's not. Aesthetically, Samsung makes the best looking phones, period. Their phones aesthetically look sexy and appealing.
Beautiful phone.
Apple
you know how much RAM is in this phone? 12 gigabytes. You know how much storage is in this phone? A terabyte. Stop
making up stuff that I don't care about. The Pixel 3, their only problem was that horrible notch that they made. If they would have made a sexy phone,
that notch is awful.
We would all had that. So the 4 coming up, and I'm gonna. Why are you getting so mad, Leo?
No notch in the 4. Just a big chin.
You can tell me.
Or is that a forehead? I'm sorry. Just a big forehead.
I'm gonna tell you, don't lie about that camera in that phone, because it's not about the size of the boat. It's about the motion in the ocean. So you can say what you want to. I'm telling you, the Pixel has the best camera.
There's a good camera in that
Leo
phone.
3, Odocta 1. I'm just saying.
It's not good. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying it's not the best.
Denise, we can escape with a 0 score. We just have to.
It's not too late to be politically incorrect.
Hey,
all right.
I didn't even know that the next iPhone was coming out so soon until we started prepping for.
It's a little weird when you think about that, but of course, every September. Yeah.
Are they really?
But I'm wondering if any of you know whether Apple is paying attention to any of the facial recognition issues, biometric privacy issues. They did some pretty revolutionary hardware stuff with the 10. So I'm wondering if you've seen any coverage of that with the 11.
Their main focus is selling units. They're not selling units like they're supposed to right now.
No, but they're selling services. They're making more money per user. So
yeah, they will. They especially with that credit card popping off. That's going to be.
I love John Gruber, who's normally an Apple shill, right? Really loves the Apple.
He loves the Apple. I wouldn't call him a shill.
Okay, he loves the Apple. There's a fine line between.
He loves him a good apple.
Loving a good apple. Loving him really good and being a shill. But okay, I'll grant you.
I think it's authentic.
He's authentic.
Yeah.
He says the Apple billboards should have said, what happens on your iPhone stays on your iPhone, except for some of your Siri recordings, which we listen to. He was actually a little bit harsh this week on Apple's Siri, privacy, and trust. He says, Google, he even praises Google. Who would have thought? He praises Google because Google says, we record your voice when you use Google Assistant, and we save it, and you can even go here and listen to your recordings. And yes, humans will listen to it, but you could turn that off, and you can delete them. He says that's what Google did. Apple doesn't even do that. Apple should. He says until the opt-in process is crystal clear, Apple should delete all existing recordings and confirm it's no longer saving them. They were keeping copies with identifying information for 6 months until The Guardian published their story last week. He says this defies everyone's expectations for privacy for a voice assistant, and he says especially for Apple, and that's the key. Apple, is it reasonable to hold Apple to a higher standard because they champion privacy? He says Apple literally advertises on the basis of its user-focused privacy policies.
And they tell you how much
they're going to hear from some EU regulators before too.
He says on the assistant on let me find this here on iOS. Let me find this. Here it is. Compare and contrast with iOS's transcript feature for voicemail. Okay, so this is the voicemail transcriptions. At the very bottom of every transcription on iOS, the iOS asks whether the transcription was useful or not useful. If you tap either of those, you get a very explicit prompt. Help improve transcriptions? ? Would you like to submit this voicemail to Apple to improve accuracy? Recordings will only be used to improve the quality of speech recognition in Apple products. And here's a sentence he really likes. Do not submit recordings if you believe the speaker would be uncomfortable with you submitting the content to Apple. That's good. That's the way it should be. That's not what they do with Siri.
Especially when Apple goes out of their way to tell you that they're coming up with ways to give out fake emails to keep privacy from third party and app developers and like that. But they're out there doing whatever they want to do. They so champion that other companies are trying to steal your information, and we're going to protect you from that. But then they can go do what they want to do and not be responsible, which is America.
Okay, but now I'm going to praise Apple for a second, which feels really weird. I'm like in a new space
I love
here.
it.
I'm like,
I love it.
What is this muscle? Okay, but you know, if in good faith somebody made a mistake and there's room to improve and they apologize and do improve it,
And fix it.
We've seen people make mistakes, fix it, and actually get more goodwill win from being like, oh, you know what? We did want to put that as a core or a pillar, and we didn't do as well as we could.
Right.
Like, this represents a really interesting opportunity.
It is.
At the point where you lose Daring Fireball, like,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
probably alarm bells going off
bet.
within parts of Apple.
That's
bet.
at that point you hire Odocta.
Right.
Run it by them.
Run it by us.
Should we just call it odoctaapologizes.com? No, that won't work. You got to have...
Now, I'm going to work on Uncle Lee. I'm going to come out
telling
there and
you.
start
Apologies
pitching
as
it.
a service.
AAAS ass.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Sensitivity
You know
as
who
a
needs-
service.
My first $5,000 check is going to be from Twit.tv and Leo Laporte. Okay, that's going to be
We
my
realize-
first check.
odoctasass.com. I think it's going to be great.
You're 4-1.
4-1, huh? Okay.
Oh, man.
Get the domain.
Apple is suing a company named Corellium because Corellium is doing iOS in virtualization. Corellium is a mobile device virtualization company that supports iOS. They say they're the first and only platform that offers iOS, Android, and Linux virtualization on ARM. Apple says you can't virtualize our stuff because that means you're using our code. Corellium's business, Apple's suit says, is based entirely on commercializing the illegal replication of the copyrighted operating system and applications that run on Apple's iPhone, iPad, and other Apple devices. It's a virtual version. We've seen this before, right, Denise? There was a company that was doing Windows virtualization that Microsoft shut down.
Yeah, and I think Apple probably wouldn't have much trouble getting it shut down. The sort of side effect of that, if they were to get case law on it, I immediately thought of game emulations that people are doing to try and keep old games alive that are no longer supported by their developers, but still have avid players. There's a museum in Oakland called The Maid. I forget what that stands for. Museum something digital art. Anyway, it's that's one of its projects, is helping keep old games alive. So I think that Apple will, probably squash this. But if it does, does it also squash sort of from a legal precedential standpoint the ability to do what The Maid is doing?
That's really interesting. Yeah.
Or the Internet Archive.
That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Internet Archive is keeping a lot of these classic games alive for very, very good reason. They're art. It's as if we printed books, but you had to have a special reader to read the books, and once the reader was out of business, you could never read the book again.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to remember that these are more than just, commerce. These are more than just capitalism. These are works of art, just like movies are works of art, and you've got to preserve them. There's got to be, now somehow the Internet Archive gets away with this. There's got to be.
Well, Yeah, there are exceptions for things like search. Search does copying,
Right.
And courts have very early on carved out an exception. Well, this is something in the public interest, and we're going to let that kind of copying happen because we need search, or else the internet is nothing. So hopefully there would be room for that kind of development too. But it's sort of, once something like this becomes law on the books, then it's something that has to be overcome by someone like the Internet Archive or MAID, and hopefully won't give them too many headaches.
I wish I could, I bookmarked this, and I don't remember where I bookmarked it, but I just found a site that keeps alive the old user interfaces for Apple and Microsoft and stuff like that. I think it might be part of the Internet Archives. But that's another example where that's part of culture. Yeah. And I guess technically you could say it's a copyright violation. I would hope that Internet Archives protect it. I remember asking Brewster Kahle, who founded it, and he said, we just don't we don't bother. We just copy everything. And not worry about it. But I think everybody recognizes there's a value to it. There it is, the Vintage Operating System Archive.
Is it also the fact that it's not trying to profit from it?
Yes, I think that's part of it. You bet. Right, Denise? Does that let you off the hook if you're not commercial?
It doesn't let you off the hook, unfortunately, but it does factor in.
The judge will consider
I meant for the fact that a company wouldn't sue you because they're saying to themselves, okay, so you're preserving this information, but you're not selling it and making money. Like, I'm sure if they woke up the next day and they were making $1 billion, they'd be like, whoa.
Yeah.
I need a cut of that.
I'd feel the same way. I would, if somebody wants to take all of our shows and put them online. In fact, many people do. That's fine. If they make money on it, that's a violation of. And we're Creative Commons. We're not even, traditional copyright. But that's that seems reasonable. Maybe they should make more things Creative Commons. That would solve that problem. Non-commercial, attribution, share alike, something like that.
Well, the Apple situation is totally different because they're using it to make money. So
right.
Hey,
I use this to make money. Just don't take the ads out, baby. You can do anything you want with it. All right, 3 years of misery inside Google. We got to do it. Got to do it. I can't, But I don't think this is a mean article. This is Natasha Tiku writing on Wired, the happiest company in tech. And what it really is talking about is a Google that's a little different, and I bet a little different from when you worked at it, Matt.
Yeah, I think so.
Employees walking out because they don't want Google, for instance, to do defense contracting, right? And that's one thing that Google's always been, is respectful for their employees, because after all, the valuable asset of Google, the most valuable asset, is not the hard drives or the servers or even Sundar Pichai. It's the engineers who write the code, who keep it running. And so, and more so than almost any other kind of company, the employees at Google carry a lot of weight.
They do carry a lot of weight, and it's super fascinating that the culture of empowerment, where people say they can push the big red button and say, I think this is something evil. And I've seen that happen where the company set a company-wide goal, and then one engineer stood up and said, I think this is actually an evil goal. And it kicked off a huge discussion, which changed actually the course of how the company was planning to do some things.
See, that's great.
That's a healthy culture, but now Google is 100,000 people, and it's much harder to find, what is the thing that every single person at Google is going to agree on. You're going to have folks all across the spectrum who have strong thoughts on all kinds of different topics.
Well, and one of the problems that she writes about in this is the troubles began in 2016 with the election of President Trump. Google wanted to keep, as what any in business would want to do, a low profile, not be critical, because the president and the government can really weigh in, as they have started to do now, on your business. It was kind of the strategy of Google to keep their head down. But then came very early on the Muslim ban, the immigration ban. And Sergey Brin, one of the founders of Google, goes to the San Francisco airport and protests. He says, he was very clear, I'm not going as the founder of Google, I'm going as a private individual. Then there are walkouts at Google. Employees had a protest on a Saturday night. Was it a Saturday night? It was shortly after the Saturday night protests at the airport. And Sundar Pichai kind of was collared. He went out and he spoke. And then the crowd starts going, Sergey, Sergey, Sergey. And Sergey has to speak. And this is pretty much what Google didn't want, because this is that old thing. You don't want to get your head above the crowd, because then it gets chopped off. And of course, the latest is, the president says, well, we're going to investigate Google and Twitter, but mostly Google, for blocking conservative thought in their search results. And then there's also the conversation in this article about James Damore, and more than James Damore, an engineer who is less known. Damore wrote that memo, was fired. He has filed a class action lawsuit against Google, but the memo was blatantly sexist, saying women are not capable of programming, and that's obviously wrong and inappropriate. I think that there's good case to be made that if an employee says, well, this kind of person's no good at my job, that's not the environment you want to create at Google. But then there's also Kevin Cernecki, who is very active. He has filed a charge with the National Labor Relations Board after getting a warning. He's still working there. So it's a really interesting article, kind of a trouble in paradise article.
I have a slightly different take.
Okay, good.
Like, it's interesting because this is the story of the last 3 years, and a lot of stuff has happened at Google
since you left.
Yeah, and it's almost like, I was starting in DC in June of 2016, so I missed a lot of this stuff. I didn't see the internal discussions. But what is fascinating about it to me is whenever people would leave Google before, a typical response would be, oh, yes, one person has left, but look at these 12 amazing people who just joined.
Right.
So the walkout is a different tactic. You only get to quit once, but you can do internal protests or walkouts, and that can have a pretty sizable impact without you actually leaving. But then my weird take is, I think we are at the point where a company that is 100,000 employees, you can't just ascribe and say, oh, I'm a good person and I work for this company and I think this company's good. I don't need to worry about the impact of all of my ethical decisions. I'm going to outsource that to my company. Instead, I think now you see that there are plenty of opportunities for technology people to have more impact, not at a large company trying to change from within, but going and doing, whether it's a startup or a nonprofit or working in government, the kinds of things where you can have a really big impact, where you might not be able to affect that change inside of the large company anymore.
Because it's so big.
It's just so big.
Plus, large companies, agendas shift a little bit. For instance, you want to make nice with the government that's in, running the country you're in, because they can make a lot of trouble for you. You kind of, and I can understand why a Google engineer will say, well, that's none of my concern. I'm gonna do what I think is right.
It's fascinating to me that, there are thousands of designers and engineers and product managers at Google, but it is also the case that a very small number of people can have a very large impact whenever you're tackling a problem at a startup. That's me.
Is that you?
Sorry, yeah, that's me. It was listening for the... so it's fascinating to me that you can actually have, like, teams of 4 or 5 people can have a disproportionate impact in civic tech, for example.
As it should.
Yeah.
Go to work for USDS.
Well, I wasn't going to make the pitch that explicit, but if you want to, sure.
I will. Absolutely.
From the outside look.
Go ahead, Denise, and then Doctor.
It's tempting to read this article and think, oh, Google's got these huge sort of cultural problems, but so does every company who has 100,000 people.
Yeah.
This is classic HR and employment law issues. How are people going to express their views, and what can and should they be fired for? And that's a judgment call on the part of management, and it's not unique to Google.
I feel like they almost are walking on coals and just need to get through these next few years as fast as possible.
Well,
Go ahead,
not only that, from the outside looking in, from a regular Joe, I feel like Google has one of the best mental health stability across the board as far as their employees go. The fact that you hear this kind of story where people are voicing their opinions and are walking out protesting, whatever they're doing, you don't hear anything out of other companies, which means people are terrified to speak their mind or to speak their truth or to do what they feel is right. And then you find out that these companies do horrible, heinous things because no one thought to speak up and say anything against it. So in general, besides all the hoopla, I'm like, whenever I hear stuff like this from Google right now, I'm like, well, at least people are confident and competent enough to have a sensible opinion, express that opinion in a certain way, and then move on, learn from it, grow from it, make a change, don't make a change. But it's healthy that this kind of conversation is being had from Google.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I agree. I don't know if this article was intended to be negative about Google, but what I came away with is how kind of difficult it is and how well Google is attempting to balance it without shutting down its employees. They can't.
No, they can't. And, I think probably, any large company, in this day and age is in a point where there are going to be reactions, not only to the news, but, the events of the day, whatever it is. And the best you can do is try to make sure that you have a supportive organization where people feel safe and they can bring their whole self to work. I think that really matters. And, but you're never going to stop disagreements, just like Denise pointed out.
Yeah.
Like,
Karsten, I wasn't here on Wednesday when this was discussed on This Week in Google. Did the group come to a conclusion on that show? Was it a positive article or a negative article?
Not really. We didn't really come to a decision.
Yeah, yeah. That's because I wasn't there. I would have whipped them into shape. No, it's, you know what, this is
and by the way, is it supposed to be a negative article or?
I feel like the headline,
it's titled 3
years of misery kind of gives you the idea maybe it's negative. But I didn't actually come away with that. I came away with Google's doing the best it can in a very difficult situation.
It's definitely clear that different people wrote the article and titled the article.
Yeah, that often happens, doesn't it? There's the titles are rarely written by the author. I think it's, you know what, this is a microcosm of what must be happening in many companies around the country. When there's big political division in the country, as there is, those divisions will be reflected inside any company that's large enough. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we have political divisions here at Twit. No. Because I suppress all dissent.
5-1. 5-1.
Yeah. Is that 5 now? Is that 5?
Leo's in the booth when you're voting, like,
just keep
did you mean to check
I
the
have
other
cameras
box?
everywhere.
We just need a little chyron.
By the way, can I say how angry I am? Speaking of Google, at Nest, they decided that you can't turn off the little red light or the little green light on the Nest cameras.
Really?
Because then you could spy on people.
Okay.
So I have Nest security cameras all around my house. Now I have bright green little lights all around my house.
And not even, I don't feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for my I feel sorry for my 4 friends that have kids that ask me how to turn the light off, and I said you can't. They have it in their baby's room, and the baby's just sitting there like a crackhead in the middle of the night.
The light, the green light. I see the light.
The only thing I could tell them was to go get gaffer's tape.
That's what you do.
And put it over their $100 device.
That's what I'm going to do.
So I wouldn't do that if I were you. We have laws in California, and they're more protective of audio than they are of video. So if you're recording someone's audio without their consent, that is a bad thing.
Well,
let me rephrase for anybody listening. Put the gaffer's tape over the camera, but in front of your door, we're gonna do like DoorDash does and put a little sticker on your front window. This whole house is under surveillance. You come in here, we're filming you.
Don't we have a sign at the door that says that?
Yeah.
We have a sign on our door.
We're legally covered. We're good.
And we made you guys sign a 400-page disclaimer, right?
Then I'm all good.
We got it good though.
We
used to do it with paper so they could read it, but now we put it on an iPad and they just go yeah. People are so conditioned.
Terms of service.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have to start sneaking stuff in there.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin belongs to me.
There's a comic book show.
Is that 5 yet?
No, Bitcoin, okay. You can make fun of Bitcoin all you want.
We're skipping that. There's a
whole
comic book
subgenre
cartoon
of really fun videos of people who, here, have a free iPad, just click here.
Yeah.
And then you go through and you see how they've, you know.
Didn't they do that on South Park?
You've got our firstborn. And,
firstborn. So, so you're saying, Denise, that I should leave if I'm recording in the studio as I am.
Lights on, please.
Lights on. There is a microphone in that. Should I disable the audio?
I think that's probably prudent.
The only place they are is in this studio and the other studio. They're in the studios where there are mics and cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
And people
If you-
do have
if
to
you
sign
can't
a
disable
waiver to enter.
But my employees is what you're talking about, right, Denise? It's not these people in the seats.
It's everybody.
It's everybody.
Well, but like you said, you've put disclaimers everywhere and told people they're being recorded. So that's a little bit different. But,
Now,
you know.
here's the
what would
question.
really help
Can I
with
be
that?
sued by a criminal who's creeping around my house because I taped over the light on the camera outside my house on my property?
Well, so like I said, it's the audio conversation or the audio recording that would be more problematic in California. If you're in public and you're being photographed or videoed, your expectations of privacy are drastically reduced. So if someone is just outside your house, they're in a public place. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to say, I made a little tactical error. It's aiming at the hot tub. And and it does have a microphone, and it turns out that it's right outside the bedroom window. And so I probably should do something. Maybe just tape over the light.
Just be aware of the audio. It's we're a two-party consent state.
We're a
for audio.
two-party state in California.
On the
Two-party
last thing
consent.
about consent, I watched a show where the devil made an app, and inside the app it said, when you sign up for the app that's free, you're giving me your soul. So he scared people into downloading this app and was just collecting millions and millions of souls. And I
See?
thought to myself,
See?
that could easily happen.
See, the devil
And
would have done
that.
that.
Would be the greatest way for the devil
Yeah.
to just rack up souls.
Never this signing in
'Cause you're
blood,
signing on the dotted line.
all this stuff. You don't need to do that
Yeah.
anymore. Just give them an
Just
app.
click
Well,
accept.
Like at
Name it
least-
Instagram.
Yeah, like at least
Easy.
once a year, somebody who is a programmer puts something into their terms of service to test whether people
Yeah,
read it, like
nobody.
the brown M&Ms or
Right.
whatever. And people never do, and they're like, "Oh, I accidentally got 700 souls today," you know.
Yeah. Well, Face app, right? That Russian app that takes a picture of your face, ages it, sends it back, and then Chuck Schumer actually. What?
Yeah.
This is from Fox News. 7,500 online shoppers unknowingly sold their souls. But you can't really sell your soul.
Can't
No,
you
you
though?
can't.
I don't know.
No, these are just
I mean-
these are stunts.
It's a stunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. People believe
the
in
Supreme
anything.
Court has
Depends on
not
what you believe.
ruled yet on shrink wrap agreements with regards to selling souls.
Maybe it goes into mediation. I don't know.
This is why we need This Week in Law. We got to bring that show back. By the way,
I think
shrink
it's
wrap.
this week in witchcraft.
Yeah.
You're talking about
Actually, I think if we did
You could
This
do a
Week in
hybrid.
Devilry, we would get a lot of downloads.
Oh,
Oh yeah, no doubt.
'Cause you
no
can-
doubt.
that's
There's
a
a whole
pretty-
Substack under marketed
it's a
right
broad definition of devilry.
Devilry.
now.
Yeah.
They're underfed.
Twid. I want to do Twid.
And it would have horns.
Episode 1, Owen's ass. It's going to be great.
It's gonna be
It's
great.
going to be great.
I think it's a little devilry to name it the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Is that real? Like, are we gonna?
Well, so this is
Turbo
again
9000.
rumor. The idea, the Pro Max. Wow, that's a little much. Super
right?
Pro Max.
double.
The idea is Apple has pros in all of its lines. The thought is there might be one high-end iPhone, bigger screen, Type-C connector, not a Lightning connector, which I would frankly pay for.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of that Lightning connector.
Yeah.
Apple wouldn't do it all at once because people would be furious. They bought all those Lightning accessories. So you just do it with the Pro one, just like you do with the iPad Pro, right? The iPad Pro doesn't have Lightning and has Type-C. So maybe like an analog to the iPad Pro. And then, of course, you've got the problem, which is that the iPhone has regular sized and maxi. So you're going to have to, if it's a Pro, well, you have a Pro Max.
Oh boy. Okay.
When that comes out, I know it's a quick turnaround, but just let me submit a rage video that you can play during that episode.
You
'cause
can do it right away. Just
They-
record
they
it
make me
now,
so
and
angry.
we'll do it during the event.
It's so bad.
Actually,
It's so bad.
Here's the deal. Carson, make a note of this. We will have Doctor on the Apple event when we live stream it.
Okay.
So you can
There we go.
You can rage react in real time.
There you go. That'll be fun.
Realtimeragereactions.com. Try
Camera's,
that.
the camera's not as good as the Pixel.
What do you do? Use Denise, you look like an iPhone user.
I'm an iPhone user.
know.
Yeah, I have been from
I know.
version 1.
Yep.
I want to take wagers on how bad the name is. Could it be Double Secret Pro Max?
Ooh. Turbo
Double
Double Secret
Super
Super Pro
Pro.
Max. How much would you pay?
Extra Flow Max.
Flowmatic Max.
Flowmatic. We were talking before the show about Grace Hopper, who wrote COBOL. Before she wrote COBOL, she wrote a programming language called Flowmatic, which really should have survived.
Yeah.
I think that would have been cool.
Yeah.
Google Design Direct. So Google's strategy with the Pixel 4 is pretty cool because when the leaks got out, they just tweeted it.
Yeah.
Google Design Director teases that there'll be 20x zoom on a Pixel phone. He was lying.
I'm not going to be happy until I whip out my Pixel phone and it's all
20x
cameras.
zoom.
The whole back is nothing but
It'd have to
cameras.
be gigantic. Claude Zellweger. Is that his real name, really? It sounds like Claude Zelig. Claimed he'd taken a shot on the Pixel with 20x. He since clarified the photo was taken on a 3A, and he cropped the image. Although, still, that's pretty good. So, one thing, doctor, you're going to have to give up. The new Pixel 4 will have multiple lenses, probably.
I'm fine with that. I'm just saying that I'm not against multiple lenses. I'm saying that having multiple lenses and telling me that something's better is just a crutch and a sales point. You keep putting these lenses on there, but your software's still not as good. Again, it's adequate and it's great. I'm not saying it's bad. Everything's even par. The iPhone has very great photos during the daytime when you're outside. I don't think any camera really beats that. The Samsung has super sharp photos. And if you want to take a picture of like 42 buildings at once, you got the ultra wide. That's great. But when it comes down to day-to-day, shot for shot, just taking pictures, the Pixel destroys them. Over and over.
This is your next phone, doctor. It's the Light L16 camera. This has 6.
Did that thing ever come out?
It's sold out.
Cameras everywhere.
Oh, maybe they only made none.
It's sold out because nobody bought any more of them. They
Put
sold
some
out.
Cameras on your cameras.
It looks honestly.
I want that.
It looks like a bee's eye. You know, it's real.
It is real. What's his name? Oh my gosh. Scoble was like the first person.
Oh, of course.
Had that thing.
Scoble
had that
one.
thing like 2 years before it came out, and he was talking about how it was going to change the world. And then for a year, it never came out. Then another year, it never came out. And then apparently, whenever it came out in the dark, because I didn't hear it actually launching, it sells out and they're not making it anymore. I don't know. Find one, Uncle Leo.
Should I? I wish
Find one so I can test.
I should have gotten one.
Yeah, I just want nothing but cameras.
Should have gotten one.
All cameras all the time.
Oh, and you may be protecting your client list, but did Claude call you for Owen's ass to apologize for how he took the picture?
Oh, yeah, Claude should.
He sent me a DM.
Claude should.
About the misquote.
Because it wasn't 20x, it was cropped.
Yep.
It was a who's misquoted. That's all.
I'm taken out of context.
Team Pixel over here. Even though I have my daily driver's an iPhone, my backup phone is a Pixel.
So Google was dinged, of course, by the EU, and one of the things the EU fined them, what was the fine? It was huge, for was dominating, using its monopoly in Android to force people to use the Chrome browser on their phone. So Google's response was a browser ballot. The EU didn't say they couldn't profit from this.
Search engine ballot.
I'm sorry, search engine ballot, not a browser ballot. But same idea as the old browser ballot that Microsoft had to do in the EU. The idea is when you first boot up an Android phone, you'll be presented with a ballot or just a box saying which search engine do you want to use. But it turns out Google was charging to be on that ballot. And we know that
they had an auction.
Yeah, they were auctioning it off. We know that because there's an ethical search engine, which we all learned about after this article, called Ecosia. It's a German company. The whole idea is that every time you use a search engine, they plant a tree. And they planted a lot of trees. They said the Google auction was an insult to the European Commission and to the principle of equality in front of the law. And they said, we are not participating, so we won't be on the ballot.
Can I just say, so I hadn't heard of Ecosia before today.
Nobody has. This was brilliant of them to do what they did.
I do love their FAQ. It's like, does one search finance one new tree? And they're like, no, it takes approximately 45 searches to finance the planting of one tree.
Well,
oh, wow.
How many
That's not bad, actually.
No, that's great. And they're trying to do carbon neutral, right? Because what people don't realize really is that every search they do uses energy.
Yeah, but there were some huge misestimates of how much, and at one point there was an article that said to run one search is the amount of heat to make a cup of tea, which was off by like 2 or 3 orders of magnitude, if I remember
in a
correctly.
really poorly configured network operations center that's using fans instead of air conditioning or something. I don't know. Yeah.
So
how much do you know how much energy it uses? He's visited a data center, so
the Googler in the audience is being put on the spot right now.
No. But you kind of do this. You in charge of this kind of stuff, aren't you? Sorta.
He's like, they could do it with.
Don't show his face, the poor guy. We don't want to
20
dox
searches
him.
equals 1 tree.
He doesn't work at Google. I made that up.
If you put a cup of water, room temperature,
on a server, it would boil
with a tea. It would boil after like 3 days. Okay. So,
but would the frog jump out?
No, it was just people just be making up stuff to say stuff. It's like I'm watching Star Trek and people telling me megajoules or 42,000 with the warp drive.
You shouldn't believe anything you read on the internet. You really shouldn't.
I want someone to pull out a rack server, someone in a server farm right now. I know one of you nerds is listening to this show. Pull out a rack, put a cup of water on there with a tea bag in it, and then time lapse it. I need to know how long it takes
to boil
make
water.
This tea pop. Yes.
But with Google, as Cha-Cha says, the frog is the customer. Oh, that's deep.
I will say,
I personally.
Did you ever cook an egg on a data server? No. Okay.
So there was one interesting time when Randall Munroe from XKCD tried to reverse engineer, I forget if it was like how many servers Google had or something like that, and the amount of nerd devilry that happened where all the Googlers internally are discussing it and then all the people external are discussing it. It's like, what did he get wrong in his assumptions?
Oh, that's so great.
That was a lot of fun to watch from inside.
He will be on Triangulation.
Yes. End of September. He's got a new book.
The end of August.
Oh, end of August.
End of August.
It's August 30th. Randall Munroe will be my guest on a very special triangulation. I'm really looking.
Bring that question up. I want to hear the details.
Yeah. His new book is it XKCD stuff? What is it?
I think it's.
I have it on my desk.
It is really complicated explanations for really simple problems.
Perfect.
Oh, I love it.
I think there's one where Serena Williams takes on drones.
Oh, I can't wait.
Like, what is the best sports equipment to kill a drone?
So Uncle Leo.
Yes.
Pretty soon we're going to talk about VPNs and how to protect the computers because we're
I'm
actually
going to do it right
VPN
now.
I use.
I have.
But before you do that,
Yes.
I have one question to ask you.
Yes.
You keep talking about the Samsung. Did you get the 5G version?
No. What do you think? I'm nuts?
Okay, so
I know I did spend extra for the ceramic back, the 1 terabyte storage, and the 12 gigabytes.
That one you can fry an egg on.
RAM.
Do you
5G
know?
I can fry an egg on this one. It's beautiful, actually. The ceramic
the
service
5G.
makes an
Do
excellent
you know
cooktop.
what happens when you get the 5G version of the Samsung phone?
No, what?
You get put into a premium 5G plan and you have to pay $30 extra a month.
Even if you don't have 5G in your neck of the woods?
Not even if you don't have 5G, there is no 5G. So you're already paying for something that doesn't exist.
Oh, that's
It
so
is
terrible.
such a scam
It's such
and
a
such a
scam.
sham. And it's embarrassing that company did that with hardware, charging $50 off the tip, and then Sprint and whoever
It's
else
not just
wants
that
to do
company. Every other company's making these. This is
But-
going to be. It's a
Are they
scam
charging
all
you more
around.
money? Are they charging you more money? Because most of them just say 5G. This one has a 5G version that's $50 more.
Yeah, who else just announced a 5G phone? And Motorola has a 5G back for their phone. And I mean, you can get 5G phones. I imagine it's
And
the
you
same
can't
in
get
every.
5G service, but you got to
Right,
pay the
you could-
5G premium on your bill. America. Talk about the
America.
VPN, Uncle Leo. It's a great
not
VPN. I'm
available
using
yet.
it.
This is the book.
That doesn't come out until September 3rd.
Absurd Scientific Advice for Common Real-World Problems, How To by Randall Munroe. And
Yay.
how to charge your phone. Wait a minute, I got to see. When you can't find an outlet, how to charge your phone.
That book's not out yet.
So what he suggests is that you don't need to build a whole tiny hydroelectric dam. You can use water and create a turbine, or use fire, or escalators. Escalators. Check it out. I'm gaining potential energy from the escalator for free using a paddle wheel. Oh, I can't wait. How to take a selfie.
This is going to be a great holiday gift, this book.
Oh, my God. Is this hysterical?
For the nerd on your list.
You can charge it here. You can charge it there. You can charge it in the escalator.
Yeah, this is going to be funny. Yeah, you said August 30th.
August 30th.
So I'll make sure to be here. And it's coming out shortly thereafter.
September 3rd.
This is an early version.
Is when the book comes out.
Do we have 2 of those, Karsten?
We have one of them.
Oh, sorry. I would give you one otherwise, but I do have to read it before the interview.
I always buy my books. So.
Well, you could give me money. Is that 6?
That doesn't count.
Is that 6? Okay.
You got it for free.
You know, it's only 1960.
Selling you a book I got for free. Is that wrong? Is that so wrong? Oh, look, he's got a 50.
Leo Amazon.
It's a $20 book. Yeah, don't.
When you buy it, though, go wait and go through our Amazon link, and then you will be giving Leo some money for it.
Yes. Well, not me specifically. I don't get it.
It trickles down.
It trickles
down. You can get an extra little bit of 5G.
I'm at the bottom of the hill. Once everybody else takes their cut, I'll get a penny. Our show today brought to you by ExpressVPN. I was talking about this with a caller on the radio show today to explain. He was asking about VPNs. And I pointed out okay, so why would you want to use a VPN? A VPN, we all first experienced these at work because if you had a corporate internal network, you couldn't very well log into it from the outside world without exposing it to the outside world. So companies created virtual private networks. You would use software, usually from Cisco, on your computer. Man, I remember those days where it was such a pain to configure. And then you'd use it and you'd log into the corporate network and you'd have an encrypted tunnel to the corporate network. And that way you could use it as if you were on the premises, even though you were at home. It was very cool. Some bright fella said, hey, you know, the cool thing about this isn't that I'm using the corporate network at work because I don't want to work at home anyway. The cool thing about this is no one, my internet service provider, the hacker in the corner at the coffee shop, can see what I'm doing. I'm in private. We should create a business of VPN. So they put there are many companies that do this now. They put VPN servers like the one you had at your company, but they put them in the outside world and you connect to it and then into the outside world. But here's the problem. It just kicks the privacy security can down the road. Yes, the hacker in the coffee shop can't see you. Your ISP can't see what you're doing. You can emerge onto the internet in the country of your choice, wherever that server lives. That's really cool. But you have to trust the host. That's the key. Because everything that the bad guys could do if you did it without a VPN, the VPN service can do. So it's really important when you choose a VPN to choose carefully. That's why I use ExpressVPN. First of all, ExpressVPN has been audited by third parties. So we know they do exactly what they did. The third party even audited their new cutting-edge server technology. ExpressVPN calls it Trusted Server, which prevents the operating system and apps from ever writing to the hard drive. That's the operating system on the server side. So not only no logging, no nothing. It's a whole new standard of privacy and security. The third party the auditor said, yes, it works exactly as we said. ExpressVPN cannot track you and, more importantly, cannot offer your information to anybody else. And we know this is the case because ExpressVPN, authoritarian governments have come in, happened in Turkey a couple of years ago, and actually, without subpoena, just taken the ExpressVPN server, they found nothing. There's nothing on it. So you are absolutely private. You are absolutely protected. ExpressVPN is easy to use, too. Like those days of Cisco and getting that thing to run, man, that was a nightmare. It never worked right. I had to get the IT department. Now, it's one button. You download the app, you click to connect, you're protected. It's the fastest VPN you'll ever use because they do it right. Servers all over the world. It costs less than $7 a month, and it has a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you're not at risk. Stop hackers, stop Big Brother, stop internet companies from grabbing your data, hacking your systems, take back your online privacy, protect yourself with ExpressVPN. You're going to put trust in a VPN company. Make sure you use the one I recommend. Everybody recommends ExpressVPN. We're going to get you a deal, too. 3 extra months free when you get a 1-year package. That's the best deal at expressvpn.com/twit. Express is spelled out EXPRESS, VPN.com/twit. 3 extra months free with a 1-year package. Or you could find out more about ExpressVPN. Read the privacy policy. Google search ExpressVPN audit and ExpressVPN Turkey, and you could read the story. And it's happened many times in the past as well. No VPN company can prevent governments from coming and taking the servers, but ExpressVPN can prevent anything of value being on that server. And thanks to this new trusted server technology, it's even more private. I just love it. ExpressVPN.com/twit. By the way, they're out of the British Virgin Islands, where strict privacy laws also protect you. It's really good. ExpressVPN.com/twit.
Uncle Leo, real quick, Uncle Leo.
Doctor.
I use them. They're easy to put on your mobile device, PlayStation, Xbox, or Apple TV. Like, they are legit. Like, pretty much anything you have that you want to put a VPN on, these guys have it set up and ready to go. Nice. It is legit. You didn't even know they were a sponsor and you're using it, so that's good. I did not.
Thank you.
I did not, but they, like I said, Black Site over here, Uncle Leo. I got all my stuff on lockdown, and they do a great job.
Is that a challenge?
Oh, people could, Uncle Leo. People could been trying to find me. My car's not registered in my name. My cell phone's not in my name. Good luck getting a hold of me. The only address you get is the one I provide on the internet and my phone number that I got out there. People could get a hold of me, but they can't get a hold of me, Uncle Leo.
There's always face recognition. Actually, if you use Amazon's face recognition, it might think.
You think this is what I look like? I'm a 5'8" Asian woman, Uncle Leo.
That would be so awesome if that were true. I want that to be true. I want the screen to start breaking up, and you're standing there going like this with pulling the knobs. Oh, no, it's not me. That would be so great.
Hey, WITSEC is amazing. That's all I can say. Witness protection program, Uncle Leo.
Are you in WITSEC?
Change world.
Wait,
no doubt.
There she is. That's her.
Yes, that was what I was about to say.
Young beauty vlogger revealed to be 58-year-old woman after the filter glitches.
You think it's a game, Uncle Leo?
She's a beauty vlogger. Oh my God, what a story.
Yeah.
The filter glitched.
We're going to have actors, virtual actors.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like it's like the Red Witch from Game of Thrones. She takes off the necklace and boom.
Wait,
boom.
What?
Huh?
No spoilers.
You didn't. Oh.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
When I eventually quit my government job, I would like to catch up on my pop culture.
I did read that George R.R. Martin said that the TV show was a real hindrance to him finishing it.
It was.
Well, his excuse was he was too famous and rich now.
It's a hard life.
It's a hard life. He said, I can't go to conventions anymore. It's just me posing for selfies for 4 hours. That's no fun.
Well, it's not like he was writing books at conventions, so that's a dumb reason. The reason is the TV show was killing off the wrong people and condensing the story.
That's right.
Down
he
to
said
he couldn't do what he wanted to do. So I might as well wait till they ruin it and fix it.
That's what he's going to do. He said, well, you might have seen the TV show, but I do not feel obligated in any way to follow that storyline. So
it's not canon.
There's 2 more books. It's not canon because the canon doesn't exist. But there's 2 more books coming. He's writing them. The problem is he said, I should be writing 40 pages a day. I'm doing 4.
Ooh.
So do the math.
That doesn't bode well.
I am making money by typing 4 letters a day. Why am I even bothering to continue writing?
Also, Patrick Rothfuss, we're waiting for the next
book.
Oh,
don't even get me started with Patrick Rothfuss.
Name of the
Wind. What a great book. And he has no excuse. He's made no money. There's no TV show. He's not famous. There's no excuse.
He's probably doing a lot of selfies.
It's just a lot of people like you, me, and Trey Ratcliffe going, Patrick,
we need more.
We need Name of the Wind. We need more. I forgot what happened. I'd have to reread the whole thing.
That's a secret plan to sell more books.
Yeah. Amazon's recognition, once again, face recognition fails. The ACLU has...
Wait, hold on. I just have to... While we're still on this topic.
King Killer Chronicle TV show premiere episode features Lin-Manuel Miranda song. Oh, no.
It is coming. So he does have the TV excuse.
So he'll never have to write that book.
He has been working on the TV show.
Yeah, but you know what? He's ruined it. If Lin-Manuel Miranda's in it, what is this going to be, the rap version of Name of the Wind? Name of the Wind, the musical?
We can't be hipsters anymore. I liked it before Lin-Manuel Miranda liked it.
He can make one song.
He can make one song. He made one song in Moana. It didn't ruin it. So, book 3 is moving forward, but not fast, says author.
We all know that it's not moving forward fast.
I like it that Newsweek has decided You know, this whole thing about politics, the news, we're going to be the King Killer Chronicles Journal of Record.
Plus esports.
And esports. It's the future. And then apparently they have a feature on Woodstock and photos. So they're really, they're really keeping up with the times. Wow. Wow. All right.
Lin-Manuel Miranda is in his Dark Materials, though.
So he is in that.
All the shows.
He's doing all the shows. There will never be another Hamilton, though. Amazon's Recognition, ACLU, tweeted about the test on Tuesday. The face recognition software wrongly flagged 26 California lawmakers as criminals.
Allegedly.
That's pretty brilliant.
One false match is one too many. Face recognition erroneously matched the faces of these legislators with images in an arrest photo database. By the way, I want to point out that only a few of them are people of color. So it's
they have false positives across the spectrum.
They're getting better. They're
messing up.
They're messing
all
up
over
white
the place.
people too now, which is good. That's a step forward.
Progress.
Hashtag progress.
I consider this a public service on the part of Amazon because this is how we get lawmakers to pay attention to issues around facial recognition.
And then when they fix it for lawmakers, they can do it for lawmakers' kids.
It's the ACLU.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Amazon's recognition does give a confidence score. But the ACLU, in other words, we think this is 100% accurate or this is, 50% accurate. But the ACLU says Amazon knowingly misleads the public about the software. Amazon knows with 100% certainty that its law enforcement customers are using lower confidence scores or no score at all when using the company's system. That's not good. So face recognition has some problems. I think there are reasonable places to use it, like, Taylor Swift uses it at concerts to keep, because there's known stalkers and troublemakers, and it just keeps them out of the concert.
I did not expect you to go the Taylor Swift angle.
Tay can use it.
Tay can use it. I will say, I was renting a car this morning and pulling out of the rental place, and they're like, oh, you can use Clear. Just roll down the window and look at the camera to check out your rental car. And that's the moment when I was like, I'm not sure I really am 100% cool with.
We use Clear coming home from Orlando on Friday.
I love Clear when I put my fingers on the thing.
Well, usually it is finger or iris, but it used your face.
When a telephoto is looking into your
Maybe
rental
it
car.
saw your irises. Do you think it saw? Because you never gave them your face. Clear, you give them your fingerprint and your irises.
Right.
So you're the government guy, Matt. Why are you using Clear instead of Global Entry?
I have Global Entry. In fact, the U.S. Digital Service helped make that better.
Unfortunately, the rental car company doesn't have Global Entry.
It doesn't. But also, I have Clear as a complimentary thing for another.
Yeah, Clear's great. It lets you into concerts. It lets you into. Apparently, you can rent cars with it.
Just grab a Hertz and go.
Matt, I can hook you up with my mask guy. Don't worry about it.
And consider, giving the government all your information to make your life easier is one thing, but you're giving information to a third-party commercial entity is another thing.
Do you wear a mask in public, Denise? How do you prevent that?
Have you seen
there is that guy.
There's the guy.
I was actually Googling for the story who made a mask of his own face that then he will sell for everyone else to wear. And I was thinking maybe
should be that guy.
Now we know what he looks like because Odoct is wearing that mask.
Many people don't know this, but Denise is actually a 22-year-old fashion blogger from Japan. There you go.
On the internet, you can do anything.
54-year-old. There you go.
Yeah. Did you see the guy who made a California license plate called NULL? NULL? His license plate was NULL?
Yes, I did see that.
So bad.
Which is that's great. He thought, foolishly, Joseph Totaro, he thought that he was a security researcher. He wanted segfault. No, not available. He started typing null pointer. But it's caught himself after he typed the first word and said, it'd be funny if I could get null or maybe void for my wife so that our cars would be null and void. Kind of a mistake. He explained this at DEF CON last week. Null is a text string that in many programming languages, as you know, signifies a value that's empty or undefined. Could be the false is null, right? Yep. He was facing $12,049 of wrong traffic fines sent his way because the null plate didn't get him out of tickets. It got him into tickets. It broke the DMV website. By the way, you can no longer get null. It's invalid. Dozens of citations deposited in bulk into his mailbox, parking violations, stand stop violations, Fresno to Rancho Cucamonga. He says, I've never been to Fresno. He hasn't gone on a statewide parking-related crime spree. It turns out go ahead.
If you wanted to commit a crime spree, like what if I just wanted to commit crime? I put null on there and I go commit all these crimes and come back, sit home like I didn't do anything wrong. Like look at all the other glitches.
He can park anywhere he wants.
After a little investigation, it turns out if the ticketing officer forgot to write a license plate number on the ticket, guess what the license plate number was? No.
No.
Little Bobby tables.
He's getting every ticket in California without a license number.
That is amazing.
But he also got stuck because at the end of the article it said he wants to change it, but he can't change it
because they won't accept the.
Because he
little Johnny Tables strikes again.
Little Bobby Tables.
Little Bobby Tables strikes again.
So he caught a tiger by the tail with null.
Yeah.
In related news, the 22-year-old fashion blogger alter ego of mine wants you to know that designer Kate Rose presented an adversarial fashion line at DEF CON that is clothing made to confuse license plate readers, and it's pictures of license plates all over your T-shirt.
Yeah.
And one of them, the text of the license plate in one of them is actually the text of the Fourth Amendment.
Nice. It's not the most attractive outerwear I've ever seen, but
you have to fight for liberty.
You got to fight for liberty. You know, I could see hackers all over the country wearing this. It's the company, by the way, is now called Adversarial Fashion. Mm-hmm. I like it. She's both a fashion designer and a digital security professional. You don't hear that a lot.
Yes. She's only got one Instagram post. If she's going to go hard in on fashion, she needs to up the ante on the volume there. Yeah. But
here's proof.
Great idea.
Kate Rose published this, I guess, somebody wearing her T-shirt and then getting the identification. And it actually identified it. You can see it's very confused. It's circling a bunch of license plates. It came up with 3 different license plates. Okay. And it decided that this guy is an SUV crossover, which is really insulting.
So then you should just wear shirts that have pictures of people's faces, because so the 2018 Marine Corps Marathon T-shirt, I ran that marathon, and the whole front of that T-shirt is nothing but people's faces at the beginning of the race, and so you could match that just as well. And then, it would throw them off.
This is the most horrifying of all these stories. It turns out, you know what juggalos are?
Of course.
You look like an Insane Clown Posse fan, oh doctor. Do you? Juggalos.
I used to be.
Yeah. So people who are fans of the Insane Clown Posse often put clown makeup on to show their fandom. They call it juggalo makeup. Mm-hmm. And apparently it also works. So I would be really disappointing if people started walking around with juggalo makeup. That would be,
in World War II.
Shades of V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
In World War II, they painted the ships to be, very hard.
That weird zebra kind of,
So juggalos, warships.
The way makeup is nowadays anyway, there's people out there making themselves up with makeup to look like Jay-Z, and they're white. Like the shading of makeup and stuff, people are transforming their faces. Women have been transforming their faces for decades. So, I mean, there's ways to get around all this stuff out here in these streets with just some, maybe it's Maybelline. You know what I mean? You don't have to go that far.
Here is
to change up how you look.
From the DEF CON presentation, a sample slide of the face recognition failing, although I figure those tattoos are probably pretty distinctive. Also, I'm going to take a few points off because the editor this guy's using to show his code is Nano. Okay. I'm sorry, dude. Come on, really? Nano?
Got to use VI.
Got it. Emacs,
You're
baby.
You're Emacs?
Of course I'm Emacs. What? The only one true.
Yo.
I already told you I love Lisp. Why wouldn't I use the only editor you can reprogram as it's running in Lisp.
I had no idea. Wow. I just assumed you were in the VI club.
VI's kind of cool. I know VI
You're very
enough.
kind. You're very kind.
It's a little too modal for me. I don't like the modal stuff.
Ouch.
Escape,
It burns.
colon,
It burns.
Q. Come on. By the way, if you're listening to this conversation and you're going, huh? You probably should update Windows right now. Microsoft warns Windows 10 users, this happened on Wednesday, to update immediately. This is just a nonstop story of sadness. There is now actually 4 more RDS vulnerabilities, the remote desktop service. They're all 4 wormable, which means if you get the exploit on your computer, it will immediately go out through the network, worm its way to every computer on your company's network, and bring them all to their knees. Microsoft's Simon Pope, director of incident response, said it's important that effective systems are patched as quickly as possible because of the elevated risk associated with wormable vulnerabilities. So get your downloads. Patch Tuesday, fortunately, was the next day, I presume, I hope. Patch Tuesday fixed it. Ironically, Windows XP not affected. Windows 10, yes, not so much, not so safe. This is just an endless. But I put this in more as a public service announcement. The first thing I did when I sat down today, as you noticed, was immediately update. Because that would be bad.
And the joke I made before the show started.
I know. Go ahead.
Chromebook Pixel, not that wormable.
Not so wormable.
Not so wormable.
Not so wormable. If they had a screen this big, they might, for all I know, that would go down at 25 degrees to get out of the way. This is such a... By the way, this is replacing the Surface Studio that was here. I am now using a Lenovo. And remember the Surface Studio had a little knob that you put on the screen? This has a little knob that's a USB knob. Ooh. You plug into the... You could put it on either side. If you're a lefty, I'm a lefty, so I put it on the right. And it has double knobbage. You press the button... It opens the menu or mutes. I don't know what's doing both. If you turn the knob here, let me show you. I'll go to a website so you can see this in action. If I turn knob 1, it zooms in or out. Nice, perfect. Turn the other knob, it scrolls up or down. Nice, pretty sweet, huh?
I didn't even know I needed a knob.
You need a knob. Do you have that on the Pixel? No. So maybe I'm wormable, but at least I have a knob.
That's a good knob.
Speaking of knob,
I gotta say,
where did that Surface go, huh? It had a big knob.
Your doppelganger Aunt Pruitt got it.
Okay. Did he have the knob?
I'm giving the knob to Aunt. Aunt gets the knob.
Yeah, see, knobs are important.
Knob, as it's. Go ahead.
I only want my dogs and cats to be wormable. That's it. My knobbable devices.
Love it. There is a new Bluetooth attack called Coincident, I think not, Knob. Key negotiation of Bluetooth attack. This is really an example of just dumb design. Lawrence Abrams writing in Bleeping Computer. I'm sure Steve talked about it. I hope he did. If he didn't last Tuesday, he'll talk about it this Tuesday in Security Now. So it turns out you can send to Bluetooth a command that says, make your key any arbitrary length, including a single octet.
Oh.
So what is it? How many choices are there in an octet? 8?
That'd be 256.
256. Right? An octet is 8 bits. So
I would assume
256, which means, brute force attack would only take 256 tries.
That's so bad.
So bad. So
Bluetooth.
bad.
Been sucking for how many years?
Oh, man. Well, apparently not all Bluetooth specifications say there's a minimum encryption key length. So you could specify 1. The length should be 1. Yeah, that's a silly one. Although Microsoft has patched this, in fact, a lot of patches have gone out. BlackBerry, Cisco, Google has patched it on Android. So it's already been patched probably on your device. Bluetooth is a nightmare. Yeah. Bluetooth LE has made it even worse. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. I was bicycling around, and I have a helmet that's got Bluetooth. All right, I'm stupid. I have a Bluetooth helmet, and I was trying to pair my phone to my helmet. And so because that way I can listen to audiobooks while I'm bicycling around. Nice. And I'm looking at the phone, which is searching for Bluetooth. Not only does it see my helmet, but as I'm driving, it sees hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Bluetooth LE implementations.
You're blue driving.
I'm blue. You could war driving. Forget blue driving is it, because you could blast Insane Clown Posse to every house on the street, because every one of them's got a Bluetooth speaker saying, "Send me something, anything, whatever. What do you got? Anything."
The cars are all Bluetooth too.
Yes, I saw cars. I saw refrigerators. I saw everything.
Don't they have to say connect for it to connect? You just out here. It's
no,
just
Bluetooth LE.
connected
You remember this Bluetooth LE? The whole idea of Bluetooth LE was to make it really easy.
I'm sorry.
So you don't have to pair or anything. That pairing is such an annoying thing.
Why is the fridge playing Insane Clown Posse?
So this is. I'm gonna do that.
There's I forget what movie it is, but there's some movie, a comedy, where the kid would roll up to his friend's parents' house, and he would beam porn on the Apple TV every time he'd roll up, and just watch the family run around trying to turn it off because they have kids in the house.
Why is it doing that?
Trying to figure out what's going on.
Why are there people doing
I
that?
forget what movie it was, but it was really funny because it's such an easy hack to do.
What are those people doing?
Horrible.
Let's
People love those Samsung refrigerators because they've got those huge sort of sleek-looking displays on the front. But I don't know when the last time Samsung patched the firmware was. It's been years.
Android.
Did you see the teenager whose mom took away her phone? So she tweeted from the refrigerator?
No.
She's an Ariana Grande fan, known only as Dorothy. Her mother, it was if you were watching the tweets, it slowly got worse and worse. His mom got madder and madder. So she took away the phone, so she used her Wii. Actually, first she used her portable Nintendo. Then she had to go to their Wii U. Finally, from the LG smart refrigerator. And now the Guardian's casting doubt, but I have to say, if you look at the user agent on each of these tweets, it actually says LG smart refrigerator. So either she's really smart. So
sounds legit to me.
Sounds legit to me. Nintendo DS. She says, my mom took my phone and my Nintendo DS, so I have no choice but to use my Wii. Apparently that's hard to do, by the way. Finally, she sent a fridge that said, I'm talking to my fridge.
Just imagine her tweeting via her thermostat, just like all the Internet of Things devices.
Yeah. This whole show has had a real theme around workarounds and
workarounds. This is the workaround show.
Yeah.
Wow.
I sent somebody, I don't know who's running the chat for me, but I sent a link to this person I'm talking about who makes herself look like different people with makeup. If you could get that to Leo real quick.
It's
super impressive.
Can you put it in the rundown instead of Skype chat?
Oh, I got it. You put it in Skype chat?
Yeah, I can't look at Skype chat.
I got it.
That's the worst, Skype chat.
I don't want to mess up the rundown.
I'll vamp. Here we go. So instead of the people standing on the corner, like handing out CDs, like listen to my mixtape because it's fire.
Yeah.
Now they can just Bluetooth LE spam everybody walking by and be like, "Wow, these beats are pretty good." And then
people do that actually on the subway and buses. People do that.
Oh, wow.
Actually, I like this woman. Look at that. She turned herself into Queen Elizabeth.
Oh my!
With makeup. Oh my God, she's Scarface.
You see what I'm saying? You don't.
Oh my
you don't
God!
ask anymore.
She's
people are impressive.
Oh,
she's great.
Rambo. She's really good. Look what you could do with makeup. So
facial recognition ain't got nothing
Johnny
on her.
Depp. She's not going to have to worry about face recognition.
She's popular at Halloween.
Is that an Instagram feed? What is that a feed? Where does she do that?
I'm sure she's on Instagram. I just looked her up through the articles quicker. But she and I see other people doing it too. Like I've seen white women turn into black men. I'm like, how did you do it? And
can we hire her for this show as a makeup artist, and then I could be a different celebrity every week?
You could be Walter White, Uncle Leo, and shave your head again.
Awesome.
That would be amazing.
That'd be so
awesome.
awesome.
My God.
I loved the half and half one. You could be half your younger.
So when I want to be me, younger, that's very nice of you. Thank you, Denise. I don't know why you would even.
Distinguished.
So I could distinguish. I could face this way, and then if I want to be Walter White, I face this way.
Yeah.
That would be confusing as hell. Oh my
creepy,
God.
super creepy.
Super creepy. Okay, let's take a break. That teenage tweeting from the fridge took all the steam out of me. We got a few more things. We'll wrap this up soon. Denise Howell, so great to have you.
So great to be here.
Plug something. DeniseHowell.info is your website. @DHowell on Twitter. What are you up to besides triangulation? Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, can I plug triangulation real quick?
Please.
I have a couple of episodes coming up that are going to be really interesting. One is with Andrew Aruda. He's the founder of Ross Intelligence. That's later this month. Ross Intelligence is helping AI function in the legal arena. So there's a lot of, speculation about whether lawyers are going to be replaced by AI or, how that all works. So he's got a really interesting company and background. I've talked with him before. He's great. And then also great coming up is Joey Ito, director of the MIT Media Lab.
I love Joey. He's so great.
First week of September.
September 6th,
and
that'll
then
air. Yeah.
Just if you want to go back in the archives, I forget the actual date, but it was episode 400 of Triangulation.
Brian Hofer, yes.
Yeah, Brian Hofer, facial recognition, the guy responsible for San Francisco's facial recognition ban that it enacted. So good compliment to a lot of the things we talked about today.
There are so many. Thanks to you and Micah and Jason Howell, and eventually I think we're going to get Ant's nervous about doing triangulation, but I think we've talked him into doing it. This has become a much more diverse and interesting show because each of you brings your own style and expertise to it and guests. So I'm really thrilled with what's happening to triangulation. All the episodes.
Thank you. And what's our policy on repeat guests? Because I see Matt Cutts back at episode 53, and I'd love to get Matt back on.
Oh, man. By the way, when I did that triangulation show, I was in Hawaii and the Wi-Fi was really wonky. So I was like standing in a hotel room, like trying to get a good connection.
Episode 53. God.
53.
That was a long time ago.
We've had people on more than once. We've had people
some people have been on 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
You can absolutely. You want to get Matt Cutts? Matt, meet
Please.
Denise.
Yes.
Denise, Matt. We should get. Would you be willing to do it again?
Of course.
Oh, we'd love to have you.
Yeah.
There's lots.
Love to have you
And this
talk
time,
about
instead of talking about
USPS.
Google, you'd be talking about United States Digital Services.
Now
So
I'm
that'd
really
be great.
excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then my last plug is not for me. It's for Ali Spagnola, who's been on Twill a couple of
Love her.
times. And yeah, she's so funny, so wonderful. She is doing a Patreon right now where she's going to do, we were talking about toxicity on Twitter. She has written a song called Their Rubber, Your Glue, which is
isn't that the
sending
truth?
up. Yeah, it's a great song, and it's sending up. It's taking actual things that have been tweeted at her and making them into lyrics. And she says she wants to add fringe, sequence, a saxophone section, and a kick line, and really ramp this up. So if you're up for that, hit her up on Patreon.
She's really talented. That's a great idea. It's kind of like the mean tweets segment that they do on the late night. That's really great.
Yes.
Best way to diffuse this, I think. Well, actually, the best way is just to ignore it. But if you're not going to ignore it, make fun of it. People don't like being made fun of, do they? Matt Cutts is also here. If you are a what are you looking for the United States Digital Service? Who do you want?
So we would love to have folks who are designers, engineers, product managers. We even need like a lawyer and recruiters. In fact, we sourced a recruiter from one of the times I was on the show.
I'm so glad.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why
yeah.
you keep coming back.
Well, I love you.
It's
I love you,
fruitful.
Leo.
It's
but
fruitful.
also, this is the right audience who often watches the
Yeah.
show. So, for example,
Nice.
we just launched something at the U.S. Digital Service. Actually, it's better to describe it as a partnership with the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services because they were doing the heavy work and we were assisting with it. But this idea of data at the point of care. So imagine, okay, horrible scenario. You get hit by a bus. You're unconscious. They rush you to the emergency room. Like, it is not the case that your doctors who are in the emergency room can tell what treatments you've received. So if you could set the standards such that you swipe the Medicare card and you're able to pull up the medical claims that have happened, you're like, oh, okay, this person has diabetes. This is when they had their last colonoscopy. You know, that's the kind of thing that is going to save people's lives.
As someone who's about to be on Medicare, please get that written now.
And by the way, the system that pays out Medicare, written in COBOL and assembly
my
language.
God.
Yeah. 40-year-old mainframe. So like we talked earlier in the show about 100,000 engineers at Google and the difference one person can make by walking out. Like the number of people who are helping us out, and partnering with the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, you can count them on 2 hands and a couple feet, right?
And you don't have to quit to do this.
No, you can often go on a leave of absence for 6 months.
Google, I know, loves this idea. It's very glad to support you in doing
And by the way,
this.
Microsoft allows it. A bunch of companies allow it. And of course, you have to make sure you're recused from anything that would affect that company. But, I started out planning to go back to Google.
You do have to be a U.S. citizen to do this.
You do have to be a U.S. citizen. Yeah. But it's such a great program because the impact you can have is just off the charts.
USDS.gov/apply. If you want to know more, go to USDS.gov. There's a lot of information there. But I think this is doing the work government should be doing, which is to make it more accessible to its users. It's the people. Yeah. Right?
And there's great government partners. So we're really just partnering with those civil servants. And fun fact, we just had our 5th birthday party. So there's still time to get in on the ground floor of this. This is still a brand new thing.
Great. Really, really great. Always a pleasure having you here, Matt. I really thank you for what you're doing. And then, Doctor, no one knows what he does. No one even knows what he looks like, but we love having Owen J.J. Stone.
I mean, I was on Triangulation episode 340.
I was just going to say exactly you were.
Yeah, I was on Triangulation.
We should get you back, except you didn't tell us anything. We don't know who you are.
No. But I will say that it launched the only thing that I'm currently doing right now. I have a podcast called Raising a Ninja that I do with my daughter.
Nice.
And we talk about stuff like our last episode was about mass shootings and what she does in school and how we train
how old is she?
Prepare for that. She's 12.
So she's right in the middle of it. She's in 6th grade.
Yeah.
We're going into
our episode before that was about stalking. We talk about sports and training and all kinds of stuff. But she is a super duper grown little adult. And, it's great. It's great. It's a fun listen, especially for people who don't know how to talk to their kids.
Are you raising her on your own pretty much?
No, I am 50-50 with her mother. Her mother is the nice one. I am the insane one.
But I think you're good. I think you're really a good inspiration for a good role model for her.
And the camera takes really good pictures.
It
of the
does.
ninja. Got to document the ninja.
It does.
Yeah. That's so awesome. Always a pleasure to have all 3 of you on. It's almost like old home week when you guys come in. So thank you for being here. Do we have a promo video today?
We do indeed.
All right, I wasn't here this week, so I didn't see what happened. Let's see. Let's watch. We can watch together.
Previously on Twit.
Dick D. Bartolo. He's our disco guy. He's boogie, oogie, oogieing. Oh, when I was dancing, my Apple Watch said it looks like you've taken a hard fall.
Is there no option? I was disco dancing.
I guess. An option. I was dancing. It just looks like I was falling.
Mac Break Weekly.
You've now had your Apple Card for a little while.
Right out of the gate, it was obviously the easiest application experience I've ever had. That's almost a negative because it's going to be very easy for everyone to apply for this card.
Tech News Weekly.
Everyday people are running phone farms in their living rooms, probably other rooms as well.
So they will download an app onto their phone. If you watch this Netflix trailer, we will then trade that for some, digital currency. Whereas the Chinese are focused on the social media manipulation stuff, the Americans are more on, well, I'm going to get some extra income for myself.
Triangulation.
And the easier gene editing gets every year, and the bigger chances that someone will do it on purpose, it gets out. Viruses do get out, and then it's out there in the world and could do just terrible things.
iOS Today.
That's mine. I did that.
That's really good. What do you think of mine?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Can we just, here, let me.
Yeah, hold that up. I am really a good artist.
Perfectly accurate.
Twit. Technology isn't always pretty, but we are.
I love it that Megan Maroney came back to iOS Today because we miss her. She was great on the show. So watch that one if you haven't seen it yet. Our show today brought to you by Rocket Mortgage. Also a return of a beloved advertiser in this case from Quicken Loans. We know finding the right house isn't easy, but I got to tell you, you could find the right mortgage. You could make it easy at Rocket Mortgage. They are doing so much to help you understand the home buying process. That's important because you need to get exactly what you need. It's not just any old mortgage. It's your mortgage. So use Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans. Their team of mortgage experts are obsessed with finding a better way. Their number one goal, make the home buying process smoother for you. Of course, the best client service and support every step of the way. That's why they've been ranked highest in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power 9 years in a row for primary mortgage origination, 5 years in a row for mortgage servicing. For more information about J.D. Power awards, visit jdpower.com. Rocket Mortgage, they're the best, changing the game with their industry-leading online lending technology. I know we're all geeks. We love it that we could do it all online. Millions of Americans have used Rocket Mortgage to achieve their dream of home ownership. Are you next? When you work with them, you're getting more than a loan. You're getting more than just a lender. You're getting Rocket Mortgage. The best. RocketMortgage.com/twit2. That's the website. Take the first step toward the home of your dreams. RocketMortgage.com/twit2. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states at MLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Push button, get mortgage. Thank you, Rocket Mortgage, for supporting our show. And thank you for supporting us by going to RocketMortgage.com/twit and the number 2. Let's see. I always like getting to the bottom of the show because that's when all the good stories shake to the bottom. Well, Huawei is back in the news. This is just another crazy story. Huawei, you may remember that everybody said, "Oh, they're dangerous. You don't use them." And in fact, there is a story in here that Huawei technicians have been helping governments in Uganda and Zambia spy on political opponents. This is according to the Wall Street Journal. But by the way, there's no evidence that Huawei or China even knew about Huawei employees doing this. And it wasn't that anything about the Huawei technology was doing it. It's just that the employees were doing it. I think that's kind of par for the course. When you're in a country, you kind of have to do what the country wants you to do. But what I'm confused about is we said Huawei's bad, don't use Huawei. We banned Huawei. And then 3 months ago, we gave them another 90 days. Now we're giving them another 90 days, which makes me think it has nothing to do with Huawei. It has everything to do with the trade war. Either they are a security flaw or they're not. A security hole or they're not. If they're not, then don't ban them. If they are, then do ban them. But I'll give you another 90 days. Makes me nuts. Part of it is because, of course, if you ban Huawei from doing business with American companies, it doesn't just hurt Huawei. It hurts those American companies. Huawei spends a significant amount of money with Google, among others, right? They do Android phones. They buy a lot of gear. Of $70 billion Huawei spent buying components last year, $11 billion went to U.S. firms. $11 billion, Qualcomm, Intel, and Micron, among others. There's nothing to say here. It's just extremely confusing.
Yeah.
And it really looks political. It doesn't look like it has anything to do with technology or security.
Because they're super close to building their own OS now, right?
They are, and the interesting thing is that Huawei sales are up in China dramatically because people are patriotic, and they're saying, well, if you can't buy it in the U.S., well, we'll buy it here. So they're doing quite well, thank you. They were the number 2 phone manufacturer worldwide. It was Samsung, Huawei, and Apple. I don't know where they stand right now.
That's why I'm going to build my own phone out of a Raspberry Pi and like.
I wish we could. Don't you wish you could?
Just a homebrew phone.
Maybe you could now with Skype or some sort of VoIP solution. Yeah, I bet you could. Yeah. Raspberry Pi might be a little bulky.
A little bulky.
No, remember. Keep that in mind, Matt. I got something for you at the end of the show. Now that you brought that up, I got something.
All right. Oh, doctor's looking out for me.
Where's my pocket operator? I've lost it. So I bought from a Swedish company called Teenage Engineering. It's the size of a calculator. Looks like a calculator. It's got a calculator front, and it's a synthesizer. It's called a pocket operator. It was $59. And you hang it around your neck. If they can make a synthesizer, they can make a phone.
Oh yeah.
They used some weird chip, like it was designed for something completely different. And they said, well, it's cheap. There it is. Look at that. You can make a synthesizer the size of a calculator.
Yeah.
It's the coolest thing. Except I lost it.
Those old brick phones are due for a comeback. There's such a movement toward retro old things.
How do you post to Instagram with a brick phone, though?
That's
I don't
why
know,
you're
but
more
if
productive.
You could fit a lot of stuff inside that case.
It's true.
You could get
It's
pretty
super
sophisticated.
Meta. You post a picture of the brick phone from a phone.
Here it is.
To
The
Instagram.
Here it is. The Pi phone.
Pi phone.
That's a little bulky. It's a little bulky.
You know what? It encourages you to get some reps, a little bit of muscle building.
It's got a little hat that can do the radio. So it's actually a phone. It's not just VoIP. It's wow.
There you go.
Yeah. This is America, Leo. We could do anything.
Yeah. You can probably play
Give me a
Nintendo on
British-made Raspberry Pi and I could do anything.
Anything.
A judge has ordered the state of Georgia to switch to paper ballots for 2020. Maybe we could just do this countrywide, nationwide. We still, I can't believe the number of election machines that are connected to the public internet.
It's kind of what DEF CON's all about now, right?
Right.
Hack the voting machine.
Voting machine village.
Yeah.
I'm glad that this judge realized the point of paper ballots. You can audit them. You need a paper trail.
Literally.
Quite literally. The FTC says, I'm willing to break up big tech. Great, good, thank you. Appreciate the Chairman Joe Simons is leading a broad review of the technology sector. He said in an interview with Bloomberg, there's Emily Chang, breaking up a company is hard, but we could do it. If you have to, you do it. It's not ideal, it's very messy, but if you have to, you do it. How old is this guy? Oh, no, that's Kurt Wagner. Oh, good. I'm glad it's not. I thought, oh, my God, he's 20. Okay. Whoa. Okay.
And that's why it's Instagram by Facebook.
Yeah. It's, you know what? We were talking about that 2 weeks ago. Why would Facebook do that with Instagram and WhatsApp? Because the whole strength of Instagram and WhatsApp is a lot of people don't know it's Facebook. They rebranded Instagram by Facebook and WhatsApp by Facebook, and you just nailed it, oh doctor, in one sentence. It's harder to break up.
And also to the point, it's what all corporations do. It's, when I buy a Toyota, it's a Toyota Camry. I just know that Toyota is the brand and the foundation of that company. Yeah. If Facebook was the stronger brand, it would make even more sense. But this is what all strong megacorps do. They have their flagship, and then they have subsidiaries that are known with that and associate with to build up the regular brand recognition. It's just a car dealership move, and I should fully understand why they did it. They just did it super late. They're way late on this rebranding thing because now Facebook's a dumpster fire. I don't know why that's the leading title, but I understand why they did it.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about the ones that are, just big in their field, but there are competitors. If I were Amazon, I'd be more worried about this, especially because of, stories that come out about its practices where its products are competing with its third-party vendor products and what it does for pricing. And that one, I think, is a little bit more your classic antitrust case.
IKEA is going all in on smart home tech. You ready? I don't want to assemble my Amazon Echo from a pamphlet with no words.
There's always going to be an extra speaker when you get done.
It's left over.
You know it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. So IKEA actually, I really would like this, except I don't want an IKEA table. But they put Qi charging in their tables a while ago. Your coffee tables or side tables. They added smart lighting. They've partnered with Sonos for a launch of this month of whole home audio, fairly inexpensive. Smart blinds start sale on October 1st. Apparently, according to The Verge, IKEA is building a whole business unit helmed by Bjorn Block. Bjorn Flatpack is the guy running this, and lighting, living room and workspace, textiles, kitchen and dining, and IKEA food will be joined by now IKEA Home Smart.
As we laugh about this, in 3 years they're going to be killing it in this market.
Sure.
The same way Amazon tries to put a clock with Alexa in it, this is much more feasible for people to actually going to physically pick up and buy furniture. And if I could buy the things that are smart into it, IKEA is going to kill it. Besides the extra speaker thing, because they do always have extra pieces. I don't know why, but it's not even a meme anymore. It's reality of life when you buy something from IKEA.
But a lot of people do, and a lot of people will buy this, right?
Sure.
So let's just hope they're patching everything.
Make it secure, make it updatable over the air, right? That's
good luck with that.
Anybody want to put a bet on whether that's happening?
Good luck.
What are the odds?
Did you guys watch Mr. Robot when it was on?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You remember the season 2 premiere? Had all kinds of plot twists and stuff. But my favorite part of it is Evil Corp's lawyer's home got completely pwned.
Of course.
And,
yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And then they took it over and
I was
made it
just
their
really
own.
stunned to learn that the star of that was Freddie Mercury. I didn't realize Freddie was such a.
He's got range.
He really had range. Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah.
FT. Oh, wait a minute. I said the FTC one. Let's see. Wait a minute. I have a couple more. Oh, I wish I thought of this. I had thought of this before I brought my Tesla back. I don't have a Tesla anymore. A Tesla owner implanted the RFID chip from her Model 3's key card into her arm so she could just get into her car and drive off.
Yeah.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
Better.
Well, hopefully no one doxes her and cuts off her arm and takes her car. I mean, why would you?
Okay, but
that's going a little far.
Okay, but they just had people's
why are
faces
you
and
putting stuff in your
fingerprints
body?
leak. Like literally your faces and
Yeah.
fingerprints leak, and that was 1 million consumers. So like
Right.
RFID tag, like no big whoop.
So
It's just like having your keys, but I just don't know why you put extra stuff in your body. In a world where people are getting cancers and all kinds of tumors and things like that, like I understand the biometrics of things because people are actually doing that. They're putting things in there, but I don't get it. Why for your car? That's not something I want to go put in my body for.
I have to admit, this is one where I do not have a tattoo. I don't plan on getting any tattoos, but I would totally implant one of those suckers right in my thumb if I could get into my house and get into
it
my
has
car.
your PGP key on it.
Yeah, YubiKey all built
YubiKey,
in.
yeah.
The single touch is just built in. I mean,
So her name
I
is.
can't just wear an Apple Watch. Like I got.
Well, an
I
Apple
gotta
Watch
put
would
it in
do.
my
Yeah.
you can lose your watch. You can lose
A
your
Me
keys.
DD. She
You're
dissolved.
not gonna lose
So
your
you get a
thumb.
card. You get a card key. She dissolved the card using acetone. Had the chip encased in a biopolymer so it wouldn't react.
So it's safe.
Then she goes to a guy who apparently has permanent juggalo face paint at a body modification studio and had the chip, which is about the size of a Lego minifigure. Oh my God, it's big. Implanted into her forearm.
Oh.
You could follow it on Hackaday.
I mean,
I'm not following that.
you need to.
We're just talking about thermostats getting pwned. No, just don't.
Okay,
Not for
it is
your
a little
car.
large. It is a
Not
little
for your
large.
car.
It's too big.
It's-
I
if
thought it would
it's
be like a little RFID.
size of a grain of rice. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But not like
They could do that with a like they
Your
have a
thumb
little
would look
ejector.
swole,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
Matt, your thumb would look really swole. Trying to
my thumb would be up here. Yeah, I'm gonna get that car right. No problem. Okay, having seen now the size of it, okay, I'll wait for the next generation.
I'm bummed. Google decided this has been a kind of workaround for a while. If you had incognito mode, you could go to the New York Times and other sites using incognito mode. It wouldn't know you'd been there. Then the New York Times figured it out, and it turns out that if you're in incognito mode, it will tell the site you're going to he's in incognito mode. So the Times started saying, you're in incognito mode, you can't read anything on the New York Times. So then in the most recent version of Chrome, they announced that they were going to stop doing that so that the New York Times, all of a sudden, this workaround worked again. And now it turns out that this more private incognito mode doesn't do it anymore. Web developers have 2 new tricks to get around it. And now you can't go to the New York Times anymore. So
ExpressVPN.
Oh, shit.
ExpressVPN.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think of that. Does that work? I guess it would. Yeah.
Why wouldn't it?
Why wouldn't it? Because they're doing it by a cookie, right?
Right?
Yeah. Okay. I pay for the New York
Or you can
Times.
subscribe. Yes, that is also an option.
I do subscribe.
I'm sorry. Yes, we should pay, subscribe for things.
I
that journalism
happily
paid for.
pay.
Not free.
Pirating is
I admit
not
it's getting less
condoned.
happy. I paid for the New York Times. Then I paid for the Washington Post. Then I paid for Wired. Then Bloomberg said, oh, that'll be $35 a month. Oh, I paid for that.
I was about to say, Uncle Leo, can I get can I get the logins? I'll pay for one of them if you give me the logins to all 6. I'll take the $5 one
that's
off
a
your
good
hand, and
idea.
that
We
way
could have
it'll
a
tip
co-op.
down. Oh, I don't pay for my Netflix. Like I only pay for Hulu, and I have every service available because we are in a co-op where one person pays for one and one person pays for one. I have access to Comcast.
You're probably the guy that
Verizon,
sells those
MLB,
Fire TV
NFL.
sticks at your girls' softball game.
Hey, he's not a bright guy, but he's making money. I'm just selling. You know what I'm saying? So
This is a callback to an earlier episode.
I got HBO, Cinemax, Showtime. I got all of them, but I ain't got none of them. You feel me? All I got is Hulu. That's all I'm saying. That's all I got.
That's because you're sticking it to the man.
Do you have it to the man? The man trying to stick it to me. If I bought all those, I would be broke, Uncle Leo.
It's just reciprocal sticking.
Ain't gonna buy themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's sharing, it's caring.
So I will just say, if you're a government employee, you can get a free subscription to the Washington Post.
Sign me up. We'll put my application in. You sold me, Matt.
Don't say that out loud. President Trump going to shut that down right away.
Just saying.
Going to shut that down right away. What's this budget line for Washington Post here? What's this?
So members of the military.
Really? That's interesting.
Yep. Free subscription.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure. Is that the Post doing that?
Yeah.
Oh. Nice. Doesn't cost us anything.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not. The government
Taxpayers don't pay for that.
No. That's
just Jeff Bezos out of the goodness of his heart.
The Washington Post, the company, not the government.
Not the government.
Disney and Charter are out to get you, Doctor.
What are they doing? What are they up
Disney. Oh, I've already worked on Disney. I already got it figured out.
What about this HBO Max? You gonna pay for that?
I got HBO. I don't need the Max. Regular HBO Go works just fine, brother.
So what are Charter and Disney doing, Denise?
Let's see. John Borodkin has an article at Ars Technica talking about how they're trying to fight account sharing, keeping multiple people from using a single account to access services. Technically, I'm not real clear what they're doing, but they are trying to get
figure that out.
Yeah,
I look Disney right in the face and say, "You think you can stop me? Good luck, Disney."
He does point out you can use a VPN to avoid detection.
Yeah. Well, all they have to do, honestly, is say we associate an IP address with your account, and you better come in from that IP address, or you can't use it, and the VPN won't work either. Yeah.
That doesn't work with ISPNs that change your
ISPs do change. ISPs that's right. Not very often, I've noticed. But yeah, that's a good point. You can't do it by IP address. Okay. I know what you do. You give everybody Kaspersky antivirus.
Oh, not recommended, by the way. Not recommended.
Not recommended. Well, here's another reason not to recommend it. So if you use Kaspersky antivirus, the famed Russian antivirus used by the Russian secret police and many more, one of the things it does now. And by the way, Gene Kaspersky, who's beloved for some reason by tech writers, I think he must throw a great party, has said again and again, I don't work for the Russians. I don't like I am Russian, and it's a Russian company, but the GRU doesn't have anything to do with what I do. But there is a little JavaScript that Kaspersky will embed in every web page you go to, giving a unique identifier, putting the unique identifier in the URL.
Oh, dear.
So this comes from Heise.de, which is a great magazine, computer technology magazine. They discovered this. This main.js is loaded every single time you go to a website. It's loaded from a Kaspersky domain. And if in every browser, Firefox, Edge, and Opera, same line of code, Chrome, every single browser has a unique ID that it gives you, assigns you. And of course, that ID is readable by every site you go to, which means those sites could track you. Kaspersky can track you. And when told about this, Kaspersky said, oops, it was apparently introduced in 2015. Kaspersky says, oh, this would be too complex and not profitable for cyber criminals to use. Well, maybe not. So they turned it off. They gave everybody the same ID. But it's still an announcement to every site you visit that you're using Kaspersky, which basically is a security problem all on its own. Yeah. So if you are using Kaspersky for reasons I don't understand, you don't really need it. But if you are using it, click the settings icon in the bottom left, click additional network, go to traffic processing and uncheck inject script into web traffic. That apparently is an option. It's a setting and it's on by default. That's kind of a red flag. Inject script into web traffic. You can't turn that off.
globally available to all security option.
Yeah,
Just
inject script into web traffic.
It's so innocuous when you say it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound so bad. What could possibly go wrong?
Just when injecting.
Meanwhile, I have to praise Apple. They're going to change how WebKit works. Apple has decided, and actually, WebKit isn't strictly Apple any more than Chromium is strictly Google, but Apple is, kind of supporting the WebKit project. All the Apple browsers, including Safari, that's the Apple browser, run on it. WebKit has said, we are going to interpret we're going to do our best to prevent all covert tracking, all cross-site tracking, even when it's not covert. And when we discover additional tracking techniques, we're going to block them. We are going to treat circumvention of shipping anti-tracking measures with the same seriousness as exploitation of security vulnerabilities. If a party attempts to circumvent our tracking protection methods, we will add additional restrictions without prior notice. These restrictions may apply universally to algorithmically classified targets or even to specific parties engaged in circumvention. This is the policy you want. They're basically saying if somebody tries to get around, circumvent our anti-tracking technologies, we're going to treat that as malware and we're going to block it.
Okay, so here's a hot take. It feels like we talked earlier in the show about how some recordings of Siri people were transcribing or stuff like that. But this is actually going to have much more impact than that other, which is a small
real privacy.
Yeah, and so I have always been, in the last few months, I've been wondering why we don't see more companies genuinely dedicated to putting security first, maybe privacy right after that. And it feels like with all the stuff we're seeing where Windows 10 is wormable right now unless you patch, there's room for that. Like there's room for companies that are rebuilding the customer experience with security first and foremost, like usability, customer experience, security. And this is an interesting step in that direction. And
you know who's against this? A little group called the IAB, the Internet Advertising Bureau.
Of course they are. But if you were rebuilding the internet from scratch, you probably in this day and age wouldn't make it so that the internet was so trackable. So re-architecting stuff and changing the pillar of what has historically been the compact, you maybe pay for consumption of your media via tracking or ads or something like. You at least don't get the tracking part. You still get to show the ads.
I should point out that Firefox does this as well and has been for some time. They're effectively copying what Firefox does. Fair. The IAB will undoubtedly not like this either. They basically represent the ad tech industry. One of the reasons it's a hot button for me is the IAB also affects podcasting. And I'm afraid I was just back from the podcast movement, which is the big podcast expo. It was in Orlando this week. 6,000 podcasters and a lot of IAB representatives. Ad tech is very interested in podcasting. We do not do tracking. We get requests all the time for all sorts of little trackers that we could somehow magically put in the, sounds in the podcast that you wouldn't hear, things like that. We, of course, always refuse because I know you wouldn't want us to do that. But the IAB has now created a measurement system which is rapidly being adopted, a measurement system that favors advertisers. And I'm sorry to say, I don't consider it fair to podcasters. This is going to be a big battle, except I think we already lost. But I'm going to fight it anyway. Of course, as soon as there's money in something, and podcasting is happening, right? It's a hot and happening thing. Along come ad tech folks who want to introduce ad tech. And right now, there's no ad tech in podcasting. But advertisers say, well, there has to be or we won't buy ads. Fortunately, thank you to our advertisers who are all here because they're willing not to do that. And we think that's really important. So pay attention when you hear about IAB and the new IAB 2.0 measurement guidelines. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Very afraid.
Very afraid. I'm sad to say, a lot of podcast companies are now members of the IAB. Which is a very expensive membership. I think it's $10,000 and a percentage of your revenue.
What?
Scam.
Well, the whole idea is I don't think they want broadcasters and podcasters to be involved. They want advertisers to be involved, so they don't want us to have a voice. That's the last thing they'd want. I got a few fights with some other podcast companies about that one. All week long, we were kind of debating that one. But that's inside baseball. There's no room for that in this fine show. There is room, though, for Doctor. Love having Owen J.J. Stone on.
Have me last. I got to talk about something.
Oh, he's got something to plug. Oh, yeah, we really can't end the show properly when Owen's on without an Owen rant.
That's right.
So we're gonna. Okay, you're right. Forget I mentioned you.
Yes, I don't exist.
He's not on the show. You know who is though? Denise Howell, the wonderful Denise Howell. DeniseHowell.info @dhowell on Twitter. I miss you. I'm so glad that you're taking triangulation by the horns, and I love having you on Twit. We've got to have you on as often as possible. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. It was so fun being with you all today. And Leo, I was just sitting here thinking how different it must have been for you to go to that show this week, and the one where you and I first met in person that was in Ontario, California. God, I don't know how many years ago.
Yes.
It must have been such a different scene.
More than 10 years ago. I think it was 2007, maybe 2008.
Yeah.
And it is really exciting. I'm really excited about all the new podcasters, all the people getting excited. But you're also seeing big companies, big brands moving in. And you're seeing a lot of pressure from advertisers and big podcasting companies to change the way podcasting works. And what I really love about podcasting is how we're just kind of, doing our thing. Without ad tech, and ad tech ruined blogs. I don't want ad tech to ruin podcasting. So, and one of the things it did with blogging is it really eliminated the middle ground. You're either a big brand, or you're not trying to make any money. You're just a personal blogger. And right now, there's room in podcasting for companies like Twit, a lot of independent companies to do what we do and to make a living doing it. I fear the same thing will happen. That we'll be squeezed out. It'll either be NPR and CBS and NBC, or somebody who just wants to do a little hobbyist podcast. I guess we could do a hobbyist podcast. I'd have to get a real job, though. I don't want to do that. I'd have to work in an Amazon fulfillment center or something. I can't hold it for half an hour. Forget it. And also, Matt Cutts, USDS.gov. Please go there. Sign up. Join today. They need you. He's at Matt Cutts on Twitter. Anything else? Do you do a podcast? You ought to.
I don't do a podcast. I just enjoy, I get that out by coming on the show.
You can come here anytime. You could Skype in. You don't have to come to the West Coast to do it. We love having you on. So thank you.
Always good to be here. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as is traditional, with Owen J.J. Stone, whenever O Doctor's on Twit, we need to end up the show. So I'm just going to do the end stuff. You can watch Twit. We do it every Sunday afternoon, about 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. That's 21:30 UTC. We have a live audio or video stream at twit.tv/live. You can be in the studio. Just email tickets at twit.tv. We love having a studio audience and some great people visiting. You're always welcome here. I love having an open studio. You can join us in the chat room. Talk back. I'm watching the chat room the whole show. irc.twit.tv. And, of course, we are a podcast. In fact, I finally gave up on this. Do you remember, Denise, at the very first? I got up on stage and said, "Don't call it a podcast. That's Apple's trademark. You're going to be sorry." I was wrong. We call it a netcast. And my staff has been pointing out to me for a few years that really hurts searchability because nobody's searching for netcasts. I lost that battle, so I'm sorry, but be prepared. We're going to change all the verbiage, including the netcasts you love from people you trust at the beginning to podcasts. I'm going to give up. But so that is one big change for us. Anyway, we admit to being a podcast.
Blu-ray One.
Blu-ray One. That's us. We were the beta cam beta deck, whatever it was, beta
HD DVDs.
HD DVDs of the internet. We give in. I give up. So it is a podcast, which you can download by going to twit.tv. All of our shows are there, or subscribe. I have to say, the word podcast makes even less sense if you can get us on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, press the subscribe button so you'll know when the new shows come out. You can get us on Amazon's Echo. Is that a podcast when you say, Echo, listen to This Week in Tech? What is that? That's not a podcast. I don't know what that is. It's an Echo cast. I don't know what that is, right? Is that
Cha-Cha in IRC is pointing out that podcast, the word, has pretty much outlived the iPod, which it was named after.
The iPad's pretty much gone. Nobody listens to podcasts on iPods. Is it an iPhone cast? No, it's just it's a show. It's a show that delivers itself to you any way you want it. We're on Spotify. We're on Pocket Cast. We're on iTunes. Just look for this show and download it and subscribe if you will, because that way you'll get it every week and you'll have it for your Monday morning commute.
You're probably on LG refrigerators, too.
You can get it on refrigerators. What is that called? A cold cast? Ladies and gentlemen, Icecast. Oh, that exists. Another twit is in the can, and now I give you, play the music, Owen J.J. Stone.
So normally people in the chat or afterwards always ask why I'm on here, what's my expertise. I don't plug myself. If you want to find out what I do for money, go to LinkedIn or something. Don't worry about why I'm here. But I'm here to tell you a story. Last week, I was going to the grocery store and there was an older lady who was struggling to get her water and dog food into her car. I walked over, I offered her help. She started crying and she said, "Oh, thank you so much." So I helped her put the stuff in her car, and she just said, nobody wants to help anybody anymore. This is a digital world. I don't know how to live in it. My husband passed away 2 months ago. My mother, I'm putting her in a home because she broke down after my husband passed away, and my 2 kids live far away. I still have a regular phone, and I'm just so lonely, and nobody will talk to me. And so I took her across the street, and we had lunch where we had smoothies, and I talked to her for like an hour and a half, and she explained that she just didn't know how to work technology. She was like, maybe I can go take a class or something like that, because she just wants to be able to do the video thing with her kids. So I happen to have that Facebook portal. I never used it. So I set that up for her at her house, and now she can call her kids. I say this because everybody listening has somebody in their family that they're ignoring that is older, that we have the technology to talk to them, and they're lonely and they miss you. And as much as you're tweeting and texting and you think that texting is the way, pick up a phone and call them. And so since to encourage this, Uncle Leo has always been generous and nice to me. He always gives me gadgets. I have an extra portal that I'm going to give to someone. If you live in the U.S., lower 50 states, send me an email. You can find me on the internet. Send me an email and tell me of someone that's older in your family that needs some technology, and I will send it to one person for free.
Wow.
And secondly,
it makes me feel guilty because I had 2 portals, and I just gave them to Burke.
Yeah, you see?
Burke probably gave them to
I hope
a
Burke
grandmother.
What did you do with them, Burke? Did you take them apart?
The only thing you can do with the Facebook portal, you need to exercise it.
I should have thought that's nice of you, Doctor. Thank you.
And then secondly, we talked about it earlier. For anybody who has kids or wants to make a cell phone, I have 5 Raspberry Pi Bs. I will pick 5 people and send them to you again for free if you're in the US. If you have a kid, you want to tinker and make something, or if you want to go try and make your own cell phone, just write me an email. Tell me why you want to do something with your kid, and I will send 5 of these out to 5 people because you're an avid listener and you deserve something special, and I have it to give. But just remember, call somebody that's older, tell them you love them, take time to get out of your own bubble and hug somebody, love somebody, because it's not always about the technology.
Isn't that sweet? I think it's because you got through this whole 3 freaking hour show.
That's a good message. I love the reach out and touch somebody.
Isn't he sweet?
Go, Doctor.
Yeah. Well,
it's not
like
really
I said, you brought the Raspberry Pi. It's like you were in my brain, man. We out here making cell phones, brother.
Very nice. Actually, that's a great.
So there you go.
The Raspberry Pi would be great to give to a 13-year-old kid who's interested in technology. Say, I want a laptop. And instead, give them a Raspberry Pi. Say, go make it.
Pi top.
Yeah.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Facebook portal. You didn't take it apart.
Oh, yeah, mine's still sealed, so I didn't take mine apart.
There it is.
I can't trust Facebook.
Look at that. I'm just afraid if I plug it in, Mark Zuckerberg will show up on it. I'm really
right there. I'll just peek over. The top.
Really.
That's the other reason I suggested giving it to an older person. They're not too much worried about what's going on.
They don't worry about
in the
privacy. Oh, Doctor, that is very sweet of you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you for always having me on. I always appreciate you giving me secondary gadgets. Nice. Just make sure that Aunt and I get a 50-50 share of things that you're giving away.
I'm still waiting for that Osmo Pocket Osmo review.
I owe you a review. I am the horriblest person to do that today.
Yeah. Have you used it? Are you using it?
Not only do I use it,
give it to some old person at a smoothie shop.
Not only do I use it all the time. And 2 months ago, they upgraded it, and it's far superior. So I'm glad I didn't do the review before.
You waited.
Because they did upgrades, and it's great now. It's fantastic. I will do it for you. I promise. All right. I love you.
All right. I guess we could do this in the show. I always feel like giving away things is kind of like bribing people.
Oh, don't give away stuff. That's my stuff. You keep
all right, I'll let you do that.
The nice thing
is, let you do that.
The nice thing is, you waited for the end of the show, so only the loyal fans
people who had
get it.
Yes.
Listened for 2 hours and 48 minutes. Even heard that. Thank you, everybody. My God, go home. I'll see you next time on Twit. Bye-bye.
Doing the twit. All right. Doing the twit, baby. Doing the twit. All right. Doing the twit.
What are you doing here still, Matt? You're reading that XKCD book?
I was reading the XKCD book, which is not available yet. And then I remembered I was going to give a shout out to this person, Jacob, who I work with, who has been watching you since the screensaver days.
Hi, Jacob.
And is a huge fan.
OMB?
So, yes, Office of Management and Budget. And so he helps make our job easier.
Oh, I thought it was orchestral maneuvers in the dark.
That's in the bark? Yeah, that doesn't. I'm going to take that back and start making OMD jokes out of OMB.
Go home. Go home, Matt.
I'm gone.
The government needs you.
Jacob.
Go home, Matt. Another twit is in the can. Did I say that?